afternoon. This is a regular meeting of the Cameron County Commissioners Court, the 23rd day of July 2009. It is now well after 5 p.m. And as we do all meetings, we will start with an invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. flag and the Texas flag. To do the invocation is Thomas Karuba, pastor with Hosanna Assembly. To lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd like to ask Commissioner Cowan to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. flag and the Texas flag when the time comes. Thomas.
Father, we just thank you, Lord, for today. God, at your hand that we're meeting and just directly guide each and every decision that needs to be made for the county. And God, we just speak the power of blessing upon the county, upon each person. And we thank you, Lord, for your mercy and your grace. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Commissioner. Do I hear a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second by Commissioner Garza, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item A, we will not discuss. Is that correct? We're not going to discuss item A. Item B, confer with Commissioners Court legal counsel concerning contract between Cameron County Department of Health and Human Services and the Texas Department of State Health Services for the Community Preparedness Section Bioterrorism Discretionary Fund Projects, Phase 2, as allowed by Texas Government Code Section 418.183F. Item C, deliberation concerning possible sale of county-owned property on East Harrison and East Tyler Streets in Harlingen, Texas, and being lots 3, 4, 5, and 6, Block 76, original town site of Harlingen, Cameron County, Texas, pursuant to Code Section 551.072. Item D, confer with Commissioners Court legal counsel concerning Francisco Muniz individually and as a representative of the estate of Margarita Maricela Muniz, Francisco Muniz Jr., Alondra Muniz, and Diego Muniz versus Cameron County, Texas, in the 197th District Court, cause number 2009-07-4001-C, for authority to represent the county pursuant to Code Section 551.0711A. Do I hear a motion to come out of executive session? Moved by Commissioner Tamayo.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wood. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Item A, the executive session was not discussed. Item C was tabled. And before I do item B, I need to go to the action section. Item G, consideration of approval of an order exempting purchase of a communications trailer contract with the Texas Association of Local Health Officials, THLHO, in accordance with Section 262.2.024A7, Texas Local Government Code, as a sole source vendor. So moved. I hear a motion by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Tamayo. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Item B, confer with Commissioners Court legal counsel concerning contract between Cameron County Department of Health and Human Services. Well, that was just an acknowledgement or to determine?
Approval of the contract.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the contract?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Gatsa. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Item D, confer with Commissioners Court legal counsel concerning Francisco Muniz and others. Do I hear a motion to authorize our civil division to represent Cameron County?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Gatsa. Also, would apply that the TAC might take it over?
That does need to be part of the motion.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Public comments. Are there any public comments? I'd like to make one public comment regarding a meeting that we had, I think our last meeting. There was some discussion regarding, I guess, the protocols that were or were not followed regarding the construction and the subsequent removal of a shower. It was implied and somewhat stated that Mr. Marcelino Ibarra, who is our head maintenance guy, was the one that initiated the construction of that shower. He was not, and if anyone inferred that, we apologize, but he was not responsible for the construction of that shower. He was following directives from his supervisor, Mr. Robert Lopez, who has acknowledged that it was his responsibility. And the reason Mr. Lopez is not making public comment now is because he's not allowed to as a staff person during the public comment. So with that, I want to extend any and all apologies to Mr. Marcelino Ibarra for any damages that we may have caused to hurt his feelings or whatever, because he's a good man, and it was not intended for him to have been the fault person for the construction of the shower. Speaking to Mr. Lopez several times, he's taken full responsibility for it, and he wanted to acknowledge that as a public comment. You know what? Hold on, Richard. Just come up and just say real quick, I take full responsibility, and then go back and sit down, and Richard, just cover your ears real quick. We're not supposed to do this. Come on, make it quick before Richard yanks just those words, and then we'll move on unless other commissioners.
Judge, Commissioners, thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I do accept all responsibility for, all actions that have been taken to the construction of the courtroom, and again, my apologies. For the shower.
That's it. Okay, thank you. And the courtroom. And the courtroom.
And the courtroom.
And the courtroom.
Yes.
And if Marcelino is not here, please, okay, go sit down, Robert, thank you. And if he's not here, I don't see Marcelino here, but if he's not here, please extend our deepest apologies for any harm we may have caused him. If any member of the court wishes to say something at this point, let's do it now.
I would, Judge. I was extremely concerned because I didn't think that Marcelino would do that. I asked, and if you were at the meeting, you will recall that I asked several times, did anyone know that this was happening, that Marcelino was doing this? And I looked at Mr. Lopez and wanted to find out if he as a supervisor had instructed him to do that. I didn't hear him say anything, and I'm glad that he did come up this evening and admitted to the fact that Marcelino was just following orders from his supervisor to do that work. Marcelino, as the judge has said, is a very respectful person, a very hardworking person. I felt bad that he didn't stand up to defend himself, so I think it was extremely proper that we do this tonight.
On a little more somber note, I would like to ask this court to keep our foreman from the Precinct 3 Public Works area in their thoughts. He went into the hospital early this morning, and his condition is stable, but he is at Valley Baptist being tended to. It appears that he might have had some heart issues, heart attack or something, so if you would please keep him in your prayers, we would appreciate it over there.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more public comment? If it's okay with everyone, Commissioner Cowan from the Brownsville Navigation District is here, and along with Big D, Donna Wood, as I've known her, here to make I guess a small presentation. It is an action item. Let me read it. Consideration, I'm sorry, I lost it. There it is. Discussion and possible action of Cameron County. This is F. 6F. Discussion and possible action for Cameron County to participate and contribute financially to cruise ship feasibility study.
Turn on, is your mic on? No.
Okay, I guess now the mic's on. Good afternoon, Commissioners and Judge. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to put this on the agenda and for considering doing this. You all really work hard. I was watching your workshop, and that is, thank you for what you do. We've put together, or I have been working and have now put together a coalition of the 6 different entities in Cameron County. Port Isabel, Padre Island, Harlingen, the Port of Brownsville, the City of Brownsville, and hopefully Cameron County, to do a feasibility study to bring in a cruise ship to Brownsville, not to Cameron County, not a gambling ship, a cruise line. They bring in, normally they sail with between 2,000 and 2,500 passengers once or twice a week. That would be like having 20,000 people having 2,000 people conventions a month in Cameron County, which would be a tremendous shot in the arm economically to all of us, if we can do it. We don't know if it can be feasible or not, so the Port of Brownsville does not want to take this on by ourselves. So, and if it showed this, we still need to bring everybody in to do this. So I said, well, I thought the best thing to do would be to put a coalition together, and each entity will have a member of that coalition. We'll have a committee. There will be 6 people. I know that isn't, you don't necessarily have a majority, but I think that, but it'll work, because we're going to work together. The cruise line industry today has got ships coming in, new ships, and then they have the ships that are currently in service that they need to find new venues for. This is a fact that the American Association of Port Authorities has given us, and we know that for a fact. So we know there's a market out there. Exactly where they're going to go, we don't know. We believe that we would be a good venue for them, for a cruise line. But we have to have, it's like mining for gold. We have to know where to go and have the tools to do it with. So the first thing you have to have in mind or in hand is a feasibility study and a consultant to approach cruise lines. Stage 1 would be to do the basic feasibility study, which is, do we have a place, a dock to bring those? They want to know 2 things. They want to know, can you bring a ship in here that's approximately 1,000 feet long, draws 26 foot of water, bring it in, dock it under its own propulsion, because their ships don't need tugboats. They have articulated propellers underneath and thrusters, which we do have such a dock in the city, in the navigation district, and be able to safely unload or load passengers and then sail back out safely. And then, is there something at this venue where people are going to be wanting to go to or to start their vacation from here? Used to be that the people that were on a cruise line were the almost dead and the newlywed. Today, families go, and they don't all fly in. They now look at a 9-hour drive time radius. And when you look at from Monterrey, San Antonio, Houston, all the way to Laredo and beyond, we have more than ample population and economic ability to support a cruise line. But it has to be documented. And then how much it's going to cost to do this, and there's just a million questions. Where the best place to put it, whether it be, but the study will determine all those things. We have scheduled the first meeting to be during the week, hopefully of the 10th of August. So we would love to have Cameron County join in this effort and appoint a member to the coalition. The Brownsville Navigation District will be the administrator and do all the supports. We'll provide all the support staff, a place to meet, and everything else at no charge. We're not charging any admin fees or anything of that nature. We just simply want to have you all partner with us and have us all work together as a region so that we can move forward and hopefully prosper. We have to do something. The economy is in a state where we need to do things to generate sales tax and all the rest of the taxes and income that we need to run all the entities and provide the jobs and so on and so on. It's just, we all know all the things that we need to grow and do. So I would love to be able to say, to ask you, which I am doing, to join us in this effort.
How much?
$10,000 is the amount that each entity is putting up. Now, we may not need all that much, we may not need all of that money. And if the feasibility troubles, I do want to say this publicly, if the feasibility study shows that it's not feasible, or that economically it's going to take so much money to bring this about that it's beyond our affordability, then we stop. I'm not asking for an open-ended commitment from anybody. I would not personally do that, so I certainly wouldn't ask anybody else to.
Right now, currently, there's one line out of Galveston.
No, there's two lines.
Two lines out of
There's
Galveston?
Royal Caribbean and
Carnival?
Carnival. Carnival owns several other lines, and then there's Donna and I attended a cruise line conference that was put on by the American Association of Port Authorities, and there were 46 people at this conference. All were port directors of cruise line destination ports or cruise line operators. And we had a good chance to visit. We had workshops that started at breakfast from 8 o'clock in the morning. They went on till 7 o'clock in the evening. It was a lot of work, it was very intense, but we learned a lot. We made a lot of connections. We got a good idea of what it's going to take to do this.
What's the numbers in Galveston on those two cruise lines on a weekly basis?
I don't have those numbers. I know that they have one of those ships I went on, my nephew got married on, and its capacity was 2,000 people. They are sailing full. They have three sources of income on a cruise line that they look at, Mr. Garza. The first is, of course, the passenger fare, and they've lowered fares to get people to come. And they're still sailing full. Then they have the onboard spending, which is the gambling, the upgrading of the dinner, the eating, and then they have the shops, and then they have the tours at the destination ports. And all three three venues make up the whole pie, but just 1/3 of it comes from this. This has been lucrative enough that they told me that 4 years ago, they were paying for the cruise line ship. Every 9 months, they were able to get back their investment on that ship. So it's a very lucrative business. But there's a lot of competition to get somebody to come. There's a lot of competition to get a cruise line in, because if you get one, you've got a cash cow. So I'm not saying it's easy, it's hard to do. Like President Kennedy said, we want to go to the moon, not because it's easy, because it's hard. Well, we're doing this because it's going to be hard to do, but, we got to try.
Commissioner, when we met not too long ago, I think first of all, thank you for bringing it. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good concept. These are the types of things that we regionally and building, as you said, coalitions and doing all this. The issue that I mentioned to you was obviously money. And can we find $10,000 within now to do it, or do we try to factor it into next year's budget, which is going to be a challenge? So I want to defer to my bean counter gurus over there and ask them if we can do, first of all, if the court wants to do something like that. If they don't want to do that, then it's a moot point. But if it's something that would interest the majority of the court to do, can we ask Martha and Javier to try to find it within our existing resources that we have right now?
I think this is the type of thing that we need to be doing to improve our entire area. And, one of the other things that might come out of it would be more business for Precinct 1 Justice of the Peace.
Well, they better pay up before the 2 years expires, or else
They'll
it's
be
done.
out of county, so we don't have to worry.
Well, it is a good idea, but again, I'm going to defer
Commissioner Wood, I'm
to
going to bite on that one.
to the auditor. Martha, can you find, if the court's willing to do that, can you find the money within laps? I'm sure we got some laps out there.
If
we
the
can-
court is willing to go this venture, we would have to come from lap salaries
Okay,
at this point.
all right. And it's a one-shot deal.
Yes. Yes, there is.
I would rather do this than dues and some of the things that we've had requests that we pay.
Well, we've had a lot of things come about, the Border Coalition, the Rio South Texas Economic, another, 15, 10, 10, I mean, they just come from all over. But this is something it's a good project. I think it does improve the quality of life for a lot of folks that cannot afford to go someplace else to catch a cruise ship.
And Judge, if you need to do, because of budgetary reasons, you need to do it, fund it in October.
Well, maybe easier to fund it now than in October. I mean, I'm reading Martha's list, to do it now than do it in October.
What I'm saying is, we'll work with you whatever we need to do. We want to all work together as a region, and so we'll accommodate whatever you need to do, we'll work with you.
Who has committed already to taking part with the 10,000?
The Harlingen Airport, the city of Harlingen, the city of South Padre Island, Mayor Vega's here, he was and Port Isabel, they were the first to commit. The Port of Brownsville is committed. I spoke with the Brownsville Airport Board, kept putting it off because of their agenda had different items. They were bringing in this new airline, and they kept putting it off. So I had a visit with the city manager this afternoon, and it's on the agenda for the city on August the 2nd, and I don't think that's going to be a problem. So I think we'll all be on the same, hopefully you all can.
What is your schedule for this feasibility study or timeline in which it will be done in?
Well, we'd like to have the first meeting in the week of, during the week of August the 10th. And then we'll decide then, the committee will decide whether we're going to go out. I've asked our port director to go ahead and prepare a request for proposals. We have a couple of unsolicited proposals. We have one unsolicited proposal, or two, I don't remember. And we have about 3 or 4 different options to look at, for the committee to look at the first meeting, and then we'll know where we're going to go from there. But the committee needs to make that decision.
But the feasibility study is what I'm referring to.
The basic feasibility study, we should have it done before the end of the year. I would hope we could get it done in about 90 days, and then we know whether we need to continue with this or not.
Commissioner, I thank you for coming before us today, and I know that I represent that area, and I know that it's something that would be a great asset to this community if we were able to join with your feasibility partners and find that we were able to get a cruise liner here. I know that I took one and I had to travel to Galveston to get on this cruise liner, and when we can have it here, why go pay somewhere else?
That's right.
So if it's okay with this court, I would like to make a motion to, like the judge said, to defer this to our county auditor to see if we can find the funds and approve this.
Yeah, she said she could find it, so moved by Commissioner Benavides. Do I have a second?
Judge, I need to comment if I can. I think it has to be subject also to a review by legal that this is a public purpose and it may require an interlocal agreement.
Okay, well, that's part of your motion, Commissioner?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's moved by Commissioner Benavides, second by Commissioner Tamayo, subject to legal, looking at the interlocal, et cetera, et cetera. Any further discussion?
Commissioner, I wanted to ask,
Yes, Commissioner.
I would just like to add that if we're going to do this and a person needs to represent this court, that I would like to have Sophie Benavides represent us.
Thank you.
That's fine.
That was going to be my question on your committee. You will have representatives from the various...
Yes, each entity will have a member, a voice, and they will be, there will be a representative on the committee, or on the coalition.
Very
And we'll decide whether we're going to call it a coalition, a committee, or what we're also going to decide on the name.
Okay, very good.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed, item carries. Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
How long is the Valley Baptist presentation going to be? Roughly 10 minutes? Javier, how long is your presentation going to be? 5 minutes? Let me do the park first, okay? It'll be longer. Because there's some people who they want to listen to this, and they need to scoot to go catch a soccer game. And I told them we'd try to take out of. So let's go to item E, presentation on action plan to address maintenance issues on public beaches. Javier, you're eating up into your 5 minutes. That's going to go over 5 minutes. No, he said 5 minutes. No? Questions?
Oh, okay, we didn't have it here. We didn't have the background here, right? Okay. No wonder I kept looking for it.
Yes, sir. Then we got to carry it.
Okay.
Feel good? Yeah. Falls at home? No.
Goes back and forth. Again.
Yeah, but people are. I went out there yesterday, all afternoon. There goes 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Just leave it that way.
They were visible, the constables. They're very visible. The constable, they were very visible.
Yeah, but that's just too big.
There's one area that's the biggest problem.
There you go. Technical difficulties.
Thank you, Robert.
Judge, Commissioners, the request of the court 2 weeks ago, we prepared a quick little presentation, and we were going to do handouts, but I think it's just to give the public, to let the public see the problems that we're having out there. We took some photos and we added it to this PowerPoint, so hopefully the media will pick it up when they're not here this evening. So
This is
oh, there they are.
You email it to them.
Yeah. This right here is pictures we took on July 22nd, and you can see the trash. The trash barrels are empty. There's some trash around some of the trash barrels. You can see one on the right-hand picture that trash can right in the far back. It is full, but the ones here close to the in the picture up front are empty. And the 14 miles of public beach that we have, that we maintain, of course, includes Boca Chica. Here again, there's trash around the trash barrels. Some of them are knocked over. You know, they're just, you can just see that they're not being used. Here, the left-hand photo does show, and this right here is right behind Beach Access, or EK Atwood, the pavilion, and it is being used. And so, some of the problems that we're having is not just people leaving the trash behind, but our equipment trying to service the trash barrels. The garbage compactor that we have, the transmission went out, and it was out for about 3 weeks. So we had to pick up or service the trash barrels manually with a pickup and a flatbed trailer. There at left one, you can see the trash barrels full. What we wanted to do is point out is that there's bottles, glass bottles, left there, and off to the one to the right also there's glass bottles as well. And you can see in the far back on the left-hand photo, the trash, if it's not picked up right away, it ends up on the dunes. Sometimes it ends up on the highway. So it becomes a larger problem than just on the beach. There again, there's a photo taken along the length of the beach. There's a lot of trash. I believe that was also on the 22nd of July. And this wasn't even a holiday weekend. I came up with these numbers, or I put this slide in here just to show you what our revenues are from beach user fees for the entire island parks for Isla Blanca, Andy EK Atwood, and public beaches. The revenues for that we collect for one fiscal year was $898,744.81. Our expenditures for beach maintenance is $2,787,722.31. So the difference of $1.8 million that the park system pays for maintenance that we don't collect through, there's a difference in our beach access fees that we collect. The solution that we came up with, I came up with a short term and a long term. One was to increase personnel and manpower, and the manpower including our prisoners at work from the Sheriff's Department, to enforce litter law and no glass bottle ordinance on the beach, to keep beach maintenance equipment operable, keep litter containers in place and in stock. And the reason I put that is because we bought 256 barrels in February to place along the beach. And we ordered more because we wanted to put them closer together. Right now we used to have them at 50 feet, every 50 feet. We bought more to put them every 25 feet to see if it would help. But people take them, and of course they don't use them, so we have to keep those in stock and try to replenish them as we go throughout the year. The other thing is to increase warning signs, have a more consistent schedule with the prisoners at work, and then solicit volunteers for non-scheduled state-sponsored beach cleaning events. And the reason I put that bullet in there is because we're trying to get programs to come out and help us during the year, during the summer, the busy peak times, to help or do a beach cleanup. And we're having one August the 1st through Border Patrol. The kids, they're going to bring, I think, about 100. The Explorers, and we had a call from AmeriCorps also. They wanted to help us out, and they were going to bring about 30 kids. So we're trying to promote that, and we're also meeting, and I'll show you the long term, but we're trying to promote the Adopt a Beach as well. The long-term solutions is to replace our maintenance equipment. That garbage compactor is about 4 or 5 years old, and it's on the beach all the time, so it needs to be replaced. To reestablish a code enforcement division, actively pursue Adopt a Beach program. That's what I was referring to. We've gone to Walmart, to H-E-B. We're going to meet with Target, and we met with Slitterbond. And what we want to do is we want to have them adopt a section of the beach, like to do the highways, and to do out of the normal beach cleaning events that we have twice a year, is to have maybe 4 or 5, maybe once a month or every 2 weeks or so. So we're trying to go to those larger corporations where they have a lot of staff, where they'll be able to help us with that program. And the state does promote that, the Adopt a Beach. But a lot of people really just think of it as a day to go clean on a Saturday morning. But actually, groups can adopt a section of the beach. At Isla Blanca, we have the Surfrider Foundation who has adopted a section, and I'm not sure if it's the Isla Blanca, Save Isla Blanca Park group also adopted a section of the beach. The other thing is to increase beach access fees, and then the last is continue education and awareness. I spoke to James Matz earlier this week, and they have a grant that they get every year through the Coastal Management Program, and they try to go to schools. They created this new program where they have a live, sort of an outfit, Captain Crab, go to the schools and they try to promote the anti-litter campaign. But I think there's another part to that, which is the enforcement part. And that's what we tried to do 2 years ago with the code enforcement. We got a grant for equipment, and we provided the staff. What they would do is drive up and down the beach in the ATVs and issue citations for glass bottles, trash. They would help the rangers out with the lost children, swimmers in distress, and so on. So it worked really good, and I think that we would need to reestablish that program, hopefully next year.
Was that grant funded?
The equipment, they didn't fund the staff. All they would fund is just the equipment. But it was about $18,000 what we spend per year. It was just seasonal
For the
help.
code enforcement part.
Yes, ma'am.
When folks go and pay to drive in, are they being checked for glass?
No, sir.
We're not doing any of that at all?
No.
Because I know there's been, in years past, that was part of what the folks did, that you stop and pay the fee to.
So before you went into the park?
Before you went into the park. And if you had glass, it'd be confiscated. You either leave it there, or you don't go in.
Yeah, and I know that that was one of the things that James Matz had mentioned to me, that there was a zero tolerance done maybe once a day, once a year or something, or they had it like once a month. But what they would do is they would have the rangers go out and check ice chests or vehicles. And I talked to the constable, and I'm not sure. He's saying that it's an illegal search. To do it, you would have to ask them to search your ice chest or search your vehicle.
It's an illegal search.
So,
Yeah, I would think that's true. But you know, if you've got the law enforcement guys driving up and down the beach, if they see something that's obvious, if they see somebody, with glass containers, are they stopping at that moment in time and confiscating the glass? Are y'all doing that?
Or issuing a citation.
But you're issuing a citation, come on, Deputy, but you're issuing a citation and confiscating the glass?
Correct.
Okay. Do you but you have to see them doing it. You have to actually see them with that. You just can't go up and say, hey, do y'all have glass?
Yeah, we can, but they could always say, no.
No, we
can't
don't.
search,
Okay.
But if they have it in plain view, sure.
If it's in plain
We
view.
go, we cite them, and we take away the bottle.
Okay.
Because I know yesterday afternoon, there were a lot of pickle jars behind cars. And a lot of, because people have it
you know, in a
We
glass
enforce,
jar.
we enforce all those.
You know, so
Any glass container doesn't have to be a beer bottle. Any glass container, if we see it, we're gonna.
whatever kind.
Correct.
Okay.
You know, Judge, I think at our last meeting, I brought up the fact that we were having a lot of trash on the beaches. And in the letter that Mr. Matz directed to you and each one of us, he pointed out, you know, that there was an obvious problem and that lack of enforcement and that this could become an issue and whatnot. Well, I wanted to remind Mr. Matz that I voted against getting rid of the park rangers. I don't have a problem with the constable having them, but this court, part of this court decided that they were going to take them away. And I really believe that part of that problem has caused people to leave trash because there's nobody really watching them. And I've been working with Constable Zamora, and he's even loaned us an ATV. I'm having Mr. Vasquez go up and down the beach, both in Brownsville at the Boca Chica Beach and on the island. But what really disturbs me is that we got a letter from Mr. Matz on Valley Proud Stationery, and I may be going off here, but I think it's something that needs to be brought out. And he refers to the fact that 5% of this litter is left behind by the bubbas and the trees that visit our beaches. And I find that so offensive at this day and age to have a man who has stood as a community leader actually sign a letter. If he is a concerned citizen, wants to say that, well, that's up to him. But to use Valley Proud Stationery to make such racial comments is just unbelievable. And the Valley Proud and their board would allow this to happen is beyond me. And like I said, you can carry that back to Mr. Matz. I asked the Commissioner Wood because he also voted against it. But a lot of people visit our beaches, whether they're bubbas or whether they're whatever you want to call them. But I do not believe that a man that has represented this community, I just can't believe he would make such racial slurs at this day and age. Thank you.
All right. I will say that I spent yesterday afternoon, all afternoon at Isla Blanca and at Atwood and Andy Bowie Park. And I believe, and that's the second time that I've done it. The constable and his officers are constantly out there. I mean, they were there, I saw them back and forth everywhere, I couldn't have gotten away with anything had I been doing anything illegal there. The numbers of people, for example, between Beach Access 5 and 6, it was like a holiday solid. It was like a solid day of business there. Cars back to back. And I don't know, every trash can was full between Access 5 and 6. Every single trash can was full and there was trash around there, around each one. So they're utilizing the trash cans for the most part.
In that area.
In that area, but it's trashy. Because all the bags that are used to handle the stuff are on top of the sand dunes. They all blow up and end up on top of the sand dunes. Is there any way that we could look at implementing bring a trash bag full and your next visit is free or something type of?
The judge had sent me an email probably about a month ago, and he had asked me to present it to the board about implementing the refund program again, where we issue a bag out to the guests that are driving in, And before, what we would do is we'd give them a bag, and it would have a little ticket on it. They bring that bag back with a ticket, then we would give them a refund.
Or $1 or something.
Right. And what it was 50 cents. So what was happening is two things. The bags were becoming part of the problem, and then the accountability of those tickets were becoming a problem. So so we did away with that. We had a meeting last night at the Park Advisory Board, and they didn't agree with or didn't recommend us going that route again, providing creating the refund program. Of course, it's ultimately up to the court. But I mean, I think if we were going to do that refund, I would think that if we would have to give those people more of an incentive to bring the bag back. I mean, if we're going to give them or charge them $4, or let's say $8 and give them $4 back, then they would probably bring their trash back. But if it's just 50 cents,
It's hard to quantify the impact of the rangers not being around. I don't know. I don't have it, I just don't think that because they were shifted, all of a sudden, everybody started trashing everything. I don't think it's any different than it was. No, I agree.
That's not even my question.
I don't think it was. There may, and I don't want to get into that discussion, but I just don't think it was that critical. I think you not having the compactor was critical. I think the code enforcement officers not being there, because I've been on that beach 6 times in the last 30 days. And every time I see the constables. Now, I will tell you that I think y'all need to do a little bit more than just drive up and down the beach. I think you need to pursue this ATV, more usage of an ATV versus, or a horse versus, your sedan. But I've seen you, and I just don't, people are going to trash, whether they're whomever, whatever one wants to call them. People are going to do it, and they're going to do it when you're not there, and you just cannot have a line of constables, every 50 feet, every 100 feet. It's not practical to do. But I can't quantify to any reasonable degree as to how much the rangers not being there have impacted. I don't know that, and I don't know if anyone knows that. But this is not the first time that we've had issues with trash. The one thing that you talk about here is when we talked about with the POP program, they went out there on July the 6th, and they basically cleaned 1.5 miles. And I just don't think, and the sheriff has been as cooperative as he can be, but I don't think that we need to be asking him every time, hey, send your prisoners out there. I think that you need to have a program every single week or every 2 weeks. They get out there with whatever prisoners they can take and do this. And it's still not going to be enough, because after they went, I drove back on July the 7th, and it was like no one had been there. And I know, because I've talked to one of the guys, and no, they cleaned up all day, and they cleaned 1.5 miles, and I couldn't tell. I mean, this must have been really, really bad. On a Tuesday, so they were supposed to clean up on a Monday. Constable, let me ask you, what are you guys doing in terms of assigning folks to the north end of the island?
Well, when the park rangers, let's get back to the park rangers, they had 11 people.
Can you talk on the mic a bit?
They had 11 people, the park rangers, 11 officers. There was a chief, a lieutenant, 2 investigators, and 7 deputy or rangers on patrol. Now we have 9 assigned to the beach.
So you actually have more people assigned
to
the
patrol.
beach
We have
than you do in the Rangers.
8 now on patrol.
Okay.
And 1 investigator who prepares the cases and investigates when, whatnot. But we have 8 deputies assigned to the beach in a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week thing.
But Constable, and I don't believe that all 8 or 9 deputies are on the beach at the same time.
No. We have to spread them out. We have to spread them out.
Because I have been up there too, and like I said, I made it a point to be there daily. I was going car to car, letting them know who I was, asking them to please pick up after themselves. And in a case where I saw that they did have glass bottles, I told them, I don't know if you know this or not, because actually I can't enforce anything. But if the constables come by here, they're going to cite you and they're going to confiscate your glass bottles.
That's correct.
Well, some would claim that they didn't know or whatever, and I did this daily, not only there, but at Boca Chica Beach. And now, I know the sheriff is now sending patrol out there on weekends to Boca Chica Beach, so it's a much more remote area. But I think the concentration of the people is in South Padre Island. And I know there's a lot of people. I mean, and it is dangerous going from car to car. I would have my secretary drive on so that I could walk. And it's hard. And I was hoping that maybe that would make a little bit of difference, maybe a reminder, this is what you need to do, this is what we expect you to do. And we can teach our kids to not litter, but if we don't set the example, then what good does it do? We as parents. So, and it's not, I'm not saying, and Mr. Zamora and yourself have been cooperative and everything, I'm just saying that those rangers were there at all times. They didn't go anywhere else. So, I mean...
I'm sorry, but every single ranger or ex-ranger is still at the beach. We have not taken them anywhere. They're still there, assigned to the same area. The only difference now that they're deputy constables, they're under us now. But every single position that was a park ranger is still at the beach. We spread them out to where we have more personnel on peak hours, on the weekends, so we can have more coverage. But we need to spread them out so that we can have coverage 24 hours. We can't have them all at the same time, and we need to give them days off. But weekends, we have everybody out there weekends, especially from, when the daylight hours, and we're trying to do it.
And I
like
agree
this
there.
thousands
I've
of
seen you all. I've seen you all. I mean, it's a major area, and there's a lot of beachgoers. So.
There's just so many cars back to back that we can't even, and in order to get somebody with littering, they have to actually leave it there unattended and leave. So we need to see them leave that trash and try to leave it there. If they're still there, and even though there's trash on the ground, they can always say, well, I wasn't going to leave it there, I was going to throw it away, so it's going to hard to cite them for
Just the glass bottles. And the signage is very good, because I saw the signage at every entrance. We have all the appropriate signage going into the park to warn folks as to what the rules are,
Javier, do you think that having more of those barrels will have an impact? Because from Commissioner Garza's comments about the fact that all the barrels were full, perhaps that's a problem, that the barrel is full and then they start putting stuff around it. And so that discourages them from using the barrels if they're full and people are still out there and they still have trash.
And that's what we thought, Commissioner, that we would put more barrels to try to see if people would walk, right, if it wasn't 50 feet away from them, then they would, if they walked 25 feet, they would use it. And it has helped out in like the judge said, one of the problems was our equipment, our compactors down. One of the other things that we did that I want to mention is we hired 2 extra people, 2 part-timers back before July the 4th. We met with the judge and on the litter and on the restroom issue, so we hired some more people to try to help during the peak times, which is the weekends. So we have somebody just manually picking up trash, not emptying, not servicing the barrels, but just picking up trash Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That's all they do.
Well, I'm just thinking that and I know that people are littering, and it's sad to see that people have such lack of respect. But the other thing is that we have to look at it. If the barrel is full, what can they do? Unless go find another barrel.
Right.
Are all the barrels full by the end of the evening?
Some of them are. You have some that are full, and then you drive down 20 feet or maybe a mile or so, and you know, they're empty, and you can see in the photos that, you know, you see some that are really full, topped off, and then you see some that are just empty, but you see trash around them. You know, where they either try to
I guess
toss
I'm
it
trying to
in
be
a-
optimistic, thinking that
Right.
having more barrels is going to help. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
We would hope.
right, like I mentioned, you know, some of the barrels are, they steal them, you know, they knock them over, they run over them, you know, so we have to constantly be replacing them. I know at Boca Chica, you know, we bought the 256 from Oil Patch, and I don't think we left any for Commissioner Benavides at Boca Chica. You know, she was inquiring, trying to find some trash barrels. One of the things I want to mention is, you know, as far as, you know, comparing how the Rangers and the constables are doing, I think that if you see the citations, maybe that's a good comparison. The citations that the Rangers were issuing, the number of them, and the number of citations that the constables are issuing, you know, may be a way to gauge it, see if it's working or not.
Right, are people paying their fines, or they're getting away
Well,
with it? That's- Keep saying.
I've had the opportunity to be on South Padre Island on the 11th of this month, a Saturday, and also on Boca Chica Beach this past Sunday. And the reason I went out to Boca Chica Beach was to visit with some friends that were participating in the Brownsville Police Officers Fishing Tournament. And there were probably 6,000 or 7,000 people out there, because every fisherman that registered had 2 or 3 or 4 people with them. And there were over 600 registered in the tournament, so they were elbow to elbow. A lot of them come in on Friday evening, camped out Friday evening, all day Saturday. They had fireworks Saturday night, and then left late Sunday afternoon. And I was there Sunday for about 5 hours. And it was nice to see that the litter was being contained by the people that were creating it. And they were either putting it in barrels or what appeared to be putting it in bags that they were going to take back home with them or take it somewhere. And I know I checked with Gavino, the administrative assistant for Commissioner Benavides, and Monday when he went out there, Boca Chica Beach was really pretty clean, you know, and after all these people being there. But also, in this case, the Sheriff's Department had 4 ATVs out there, and they were riding up and down the beach regularly. I saw them, you know, they passed me quite a few times on the beach. I did not happen to see any constables out there, but maybe I just missed them during that time.
I think that they had coordinated with the
Maybe
sheriff.
they did.
I talked
because
to
things like that were important.
Yeah.
Saturday the 11th, I went to South Padre Island, and we stayed at a condo inside the town of South Padre Island. I got there late Saturday afternoon, had a nice dinner with all the family, and we all, you know, went our separate ways. But 3 of us, one of my sons and his father-in-law and I, sat out on the balcony and watching the waves about 11 p.m. and noticed a constable vehicle driving on the beach in the town of South Padre Island at 11 p.m. I thought, well, you know, they're patrolling. It was very, very quiet. Sunday morning, Virginia and I got up very early, and we're walking the beach a little before 7 a.m., and the beach, and of course this is in the town of South Padre Island, was extremely clean. There were occasionally you'd see something, until we got to an area where there was a nightclub on the beach. And that area between the nightclub and the water looked a lot like these photos here, except there were some glass bottles, but mostly beer cans and trash and garbage and everything. And I just, you know, assumed that we'll probably, when the folks came to work at that nightclub sometime later in the morning, that they would go out and clean it up. I don't know how they worked that, but it was a matter of, I guess, people not being what they should be, not taking care of the areas where they enjoy the beach. And the barrels inside the town of South Padre Island went anywhere from about 75 feet apart to about 125 feet apart. So, you know, a person was never any more than, say, 70 feet from a barrel to put stuff in. And they were being used fairly well. I'm not sure what the difference is in the area outside the town as inside the
You
town.
can drive
It's
your car
difficult.
Go to
on
the
the beach
mic.
inside the town.
Well, there was, at 11 p.m., there was a constable
Right, but I mean the
vehicle.
beachgoers.
We're talking about the beachgoers, yes.
They can't drive their car out there, so they can't take.
So they can't bring all that stuff with them. They have to
all the
carry it
trash.
with them. Well, maybe someday we end up having to provide access to the beaches and people parking along the road.
On the public searches, how does Litterbomb have authority to search my bag when I walk in to see if I have a glass bottle?
They base the entry on that, and we could do the same. I was waiting to let everybody talk, but you could, well, the constables can't, they can't search, it's an illegal search if you're searching for the purpose of your law enforcement and for the purpose of detecting a crime, you have to have probable cause. But where we have controlled beaches, where we charge for entry at the gates, we could have a policy that your entry is conditioned on you're not having a glass bottle.
We have an anti-litter policy that includes a policy in that does not allow glass containers to be taken on the beach. So that should be sufficient.
But I think the problem, and the constable mentioned, you mentioned it just a minute ago, that if you ask, or maybe it was Javier, that if there's a glass bottle next to them, but they're not holding it, they can just say, well, that's not mine. Am I correct? Or
Yeah, but they're talking about when you go into
But when you're going into the park,
when you're
to the
going into the
beach,
park,
and paying
yeah.
your fee.
I think you could deny, you could have it posted that you will be denied entrance if you have glass container, you know, and you, I would have to examine a little bit, but certainly it is not illegal for an entity that it controls an entrance to have as a condition of entrance that you do not have glass containers.
So you can have your park folks.
But the constables can't be involved.
No,
That's,
I said the guys where you pay your fee to
Yes.
go into the park.
yes, but, you know, it's staffing
it
of
would
it
be
and
more
timing
time
of it.
consuming, but,
And back up the,
But we used to do that.
but
You know, you can selectively, I mean, racially profile, you know, whatever, you know, I mean, I don't know how you do it, you know.
you know, if you're
I know
going
we
to
know
do
where
it,
the
you've
5
got to do
minutes,
it
but
fairly
We do it to
hard.
all.
one of the things that
You want to lower the 5 minutes, Javier.
One of the things that I wanted to check, or mention is that I checked with Corpus and Galveston to see how they were dealing with, if they had any issues with trash. They have the same problem. Corpus Christi says, you know, if you find a solution, let me know, because they're having the same problem.
You know, this has always been a problem. You know, Conrad, I want to thank you for what, you know, for what you do, and I think that it's good that you educate the court in terms of how many people you have on duty. Now, do you do anything at Boca Chica Beach? I don't know what was being done before, but what are y'all doing now? Or do you coordinate that with the sheriff's office?
We have been coordinating. The constable was out there Sunday, that Sunday when they had the fishing tournament. The constable was out
Yeah,
there.
the sheriff's office, they were fishing, but,
They were out there, they were out there for a while, but, I mean, we don't have that kind of manpower to be patrolling on the island and Boca Chica.
you know that Rob is here. Rob, do you want to interject on anything, or are you here for something else? Okay, I mean, if anybody has any thoughts that, you know, this is the time for discussion as to, you've got a couple of minutes, go ahead. I mean, if you got some ideas, not just, you know, same thing we've already talked about.
I want to, well, he's coming up here. Javier, when do you think, when will you be adding more barrels?
Day to spend out there, you know.
We added the more barrels.
You already have?
Right, we already put out the 256 barrels on the beach, on the north end. But like I said, some of them were picked up, some of them were run over, so we're going to have to buy more barrels to replace those.
So they're, how far are they, one from the other?
25 feet. They used to be 50 feet.
Okay.
There's lots of barrels, okay? There's lots of them.
Judge, Commissioners, I'm Charlie. As you well know, I spend most of my life on the beach. I work closely with the park, and I think they're doing a good job. I mean, with the constables and stuff, and you got two distinct situations with the trash. We got the Isla Blanca, Andy Buoy, and Atwood, which is contained. We have some control over that. Then you get into access 5 and 6.
Yeah.
The trash during the day, I believe, is what's in the trash cans. It's the trash after it gets dark that we have no control over out there. I don't know how you could ever, I don't know how we're going to contain that, but people got to remember that it starts with the individual. They have to take care of their trash themselves. I grew up on the 5 and 6 after hours a lot. By that point, the gates are closed. There is nobody seeing what's going on. But I think that's where a lot of the trash, from my observations, are coming from. But I don't have a good idea on how to solve that problem at this point yet. But within the park systems, but there is a strong need for code enforcers to be back on, whether they be constables or code enforcers that we had before, would really, really help a lot. Issuing trash bags to people within the county park, within East LeBlanc and Andy Bowie, would help, coming from a constable or a code enforcer. My people try very hard to work with the people, but it's hard for my young men and women to go up to a family and say, you need to clean up your trash. When it's really a big mess, they'll often call myself or one of my managers to try to help do it, but there's so many people out there that we can only be so effective. But I really want to support Javier in his quest to get some code enforcers or have the constables working as on the beach in the little buggies going back and forth. Thanks.
Deputy, if you could, maybe starting immediately, if you could provide the court members, maybe at the end of every week, on a Tuesday, the preceding week, how many citations you all have issued for whatever, offenses are being taken care of, and then talking to the JP and making sure that he finds these people, and he assesses stiff fines, hopefully collect within the 2-year period. But that he assesses the fines and making sure that people, that's the only way you're going to stop this. People got to get hit in the pocketbook, and they have to be, not only disciplined, but, cited. I don't know how many citations you all give, but if you could do that, I think that's going to give us an idea of how effective your citations are going. And then from there, we're going to go to the JP and have somebody match up those citations with the fines that are being levied. That's the only way we're not going to, I agree with you, we're not going to stop this. I mean, there's no way that you're going to stop trash. We can't even take care of the trash in the city, and there's trash all over the place. And how can we expect to do it in a remote area like the island? So if you could do that for us, at least so we can get a feel for what's going on out there. I'd appreciate it.
Will do.
Okay. Any further discussion? Commissioner Tamayo, anything?
No, I just wanted to thank you. I've been out there, and I have seen, and of course, I'm not over there every week, but when I've been out there, I have seen your presence, and it's appreciated for a lot of reasons, in the evenings and so on. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Gatz. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Okay, because Valley Baptist, you guys are next. Item C, presentation and acknowledgement of the Indigent Healthcare Program year-to-date reports as of June 30th, 2009 by the Rio Grande Valley Indigent Healthcare Corporation.
Judge, Commissioners, good evening. I just wanted to let the court know that Pedro Hinojosa and I, we continue to attend their quarterly meetings. Also, I will be out of town in 2 weeks when I believe the court will probably be meeting, but I know that the county's legal counsel and the Valley Baptist Legal Counsel have been working on the contract because it's up for renewal, so I believe it'll be on in the next 2 weeks, but I'm going to defer to Delvia and to Pedro Hinojosa on that. But I did want to let the court know that I think it's been running great, and I strongly recommend that we continue the contractual agreement. Where is she? Okay. I made Pam sit up here. I thought it was going to be quick, but I made Pam sit up here because I told her, I said, how many times can I introduce you and tell you that you've doing a great job of, with our indigent program. So with that, I'm going to let her start her quarterly presentation.
Well, I trust it'll be approved again, so thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to have to start paying her, I think. I'm not sure.
You have made this as 5 minutes, all right? So.
Yeah, that's time. Judge, Commissioners, thanks a lot for having me again, and it's a pleasure to be here. We want to show you where we're at right now and give you some additional information to think about as you move forward on thinking about that contract. Here's where we are as of all these figures are as of the end of June 2009 for this year. That's 10 months of activity. Our current membership as of the end of the month was 1,010 members in our program, and we've served 1,869 to date. The two pie charts that you see, we broke those down. We're trying to look at more demographic information that some of you all have asked for, so that we can see what kind of population we actually have within our membership. You can see there we've got 62% of the, and all of these percentages are out of that 1,869 people. This year we've had 62% females and 38% are male, so we're taking care of more ladies than gentlemen. And you can see the age breakdown there, and we have about 60% in total that range from the age of 30 up to 59. So we're taking care of the middle-aged people. But we do, you'll see that 9% are of pediatric age. And that's, I think, is very interesting, which kind of tells us they don't qualify for Medicaid. Those are probably our undocumented children. Our eligibility activity so far this year, we've received 2,028 applications. One of the things that I mentioned earlier today in a presentation that we gave to the Texas Hospital Association executives for the Border Health Care Conference, we've actually had over 10,000 people walk through our doors that we've actually talked to, and out of those, we've actually only been able to receive 2,000 applications. Whether that's for lack of their being on our appointment list. Commissioner Woods knows very well, as of some activity this week, that we are out in August right now with people waiting for appointments. So there are a lot of people who need our help, and we continue to struggle with that. We work people in as much as possible and try to get as many people through our door as we can. And we've been able to approve 94% of those are over 1,900 people, or applications, I guess I should say. Those are applications. They may be multiple people on an application. Out of those denials, we've had 127. The majority of those are because they're over income. Okay, they have more income than we allow under the 21% federal poverty guidelines. And one thing I wanted to mention, Commissioner Tamayo, we talked last time about trying to track the people that we actually send to Medicaid. I do have the first part of that number. Through April, May, and June, we tracked that, and we actually referred 207 people either to the Medicaid office or the Social Security Administration office.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome. Claims process, here's the money part. We've processed over 21,000 claims, amounting to $3.6 million spent so far this year. You'll see a new entry there under where it says total paid claims, where we talk about net reimbursements. That $185,000 is money that we have received back from providers. The majority of that is from hospitals, where the people that actually came to our office and we qualified, they were undocumented and they ended up qualifying for TP30, which is an undocumented Medicaid program for emergency care. So this shows to me that we really do have good partnerships with our hospitals and our providers, that they watch this, they do everything they can to try to keep as much money in this program as possible. So that $185,000 actually translates to money put back in the program, so that either those people who qualified for the emergency Medicaid coverage, either they can continue to have more services and through our program for a longer time, or this can be for new people that actually come in. So it keeps our program going. So it's a nice circle of life there, I like to call it. You'll see that our averages have gone up this year. Per claim, we're at $168.52, and I'm showing you last year's figures, what we experienced last year. Our PMPM, that's per member per month, we're up to about $340. That's quite high. The normal commercial range is right around $310. So we're running a little bit higher this year, and I'm going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But you'll see that our prescriptions have maintained at around $13 per script, per member per month that we're paying. And our average cost has gone up this year to about $1,930 per member that we've paid out versus last year's $1,227. This is where we're going to talk about the increases that we've seen this year. This is a bar chart that shows by service type for fiscal year to date, 08 and 09 compared through June. So you're seeing 10 months worth of activity. You'll see everything pretty much remains the same. We're still continuing to see great savings on our prescription drugs. We're very happy with that program. Our vendor and our PBM on that is doing a great job on helping us save money there. But we do have more people getting more prescriptions, and we've still got a lot of savings coming through. But you'll see that hospital inpatient, it's really gone up. It's gone up threefold over what it was last year. When I started looking at that, I compared fiscal year '08, and actually the fiscal year '08 numbers at the bottom, we had a total of 99 inpatient cases over the entire year of fiscal year '08. Whereas this year, year-to-date through June, we've had 206 inpatient cases. So that's 107 more cases where people have been in the hospital. Now, some of that is because the hospitals are more aware of our program, and so they're referring more cases to us to review. But some of that is also that we have a much higher acuity level of patients this year. They're sicker. We've got a lot more cancer than we even had last year, and we've got a lot of cardiac issues this year. So we're really looking at that right now. That has become my major focus right now, is how I can contain those costs and get them down and try to hold more money and still give people quality care. Let's take care of them, but how can we either spend it on more people or have it available longer for the people that are in the program? One of the ways you can see the difference in the acuity is based on DRG payments. DRG payments are those payments that are made to hospitals. They're flat fee payments based upon a medical category that's made. We've seen a $1,448 per case increase over this last year. So again, these are sicker patients. The standard dollar amount, the Medicaid rate, did not change this year for us. So the reimbursement is the same for each DRG as it was in '08. It's just that people are sicker. Now, one of the things that we're doing, I talked again about, we're focusing now on what we can do to maintain our costs, try to keep people from getting really sick and ending up in the hospital, what we can do. We've now hired a nurse case manager. I'm very happy to report she just started this last week, and we've already hit the ground running with her. Janie Reza Fox is an LVN from Harlingen. She was a nurse with a general surgeon for many, many years, and she's also worked in managed care. I worked with her at Valley Baptist Health Plan, and she actually did disease management and case management. She is a person who will call the member or the patient on the phone and say, how are you doing today? You know, if they're diabetic, we'll ask them, what is your A1C reading? And we're really going to work hand in hand with the members and the doctors. We've already met with one doctor here in Brownsville, and he has actually asked us to come and participate with him in creating care plans for his patients. His patients are very sick. They're wound care patients, and a lot of them are non-compliant. So what we're going to do is she's going to attend the appointment with the doctor after the doctor obviously has looked at the patient and made his assessment. But they're going to come up with that care plan, and between she and the doctor and the patient, they're actually going to work together to make sure that they're compliant so that we can give them better outcomes and hopefully reduce some of our costs at the same time. So we're real excited about that, and I hope to be able to bring you some figures as early as September on what's going on with that. And one thing that I did want to share with you as a note, CVS Pharmacy has moved into Harlingen, and they actually have taken over the McPherson's. They purchased McPherson's and acquired that, and they immediately signed up in our network. So CVS Pharmacy in Harlingen is our network. And that's it.
They've also
Any
knocked
questions?
down the glass house in Arlington. It's gone, which made headlines.
CVS they're building several pharmacies here in Brownsville. Are they going to also
I'm
be
sure that they
participating in the
will.
program?
I've actually asked Data RX to check into that because I don't get to Brownsville that much, and I hadn't seen them, so that's good information, but I'd asked them to check on that because we'll want to add
I
them.
know of 3 that are going up right now.
Okay, I'll check on that tomorrow. Thank you. Any other questions?
Keep doing what you're doing.
You got it.
You want to introduce all your Valley Baptist folks who are here back there? Looks like they're in church.
It's my posse.
Way in the back.
Let's see, I have Dr. Robert Lozano from Brownsville, Scott Liebrance, our CFO, Sherry Griffin, my administrator, and Dr. Maria Dill, who's one of our PCPs and also serves on our board.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for being here. I know it's been a long evening for you all. Not as long as ours is going to
A
be.
minute ago. wasn't
Where's
he?
Manny? Did Manny left?
Many laughed.
Oh, he left, he got hungry.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank you. We got to visit this morning a little bit at the conference and extended our best wishes. And, it's a good program. It's working, and I hope it continues to work. And I want to thank you again personally for all the hard work that you guys do. All
It's
right?
very satisfying. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I hear a motion to acknowledge.
I'd like to tell you, Pam, that I appreciate your work also. I know I've only had the opportunity to directly communicate with you a few times the last couple of years, but I appreciate your being receptive and open and taking care of the issues whenever needed to be taken care of. Thank you.
Always. Thank you.
Thank you. Moved by Commissioner Tamayo. Do I have a second by Commissioner Gatsa? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, item carries. Have you had members of you asked to your item be tabled, that's correct, on the parks revenue? Right? Do I hear a motion to table item D?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Benavides. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, item carries. Item A, presentation by purchasing power.
Judge, we've got a few folks here from Purchasing Power Company that has approached the county. They asked to be put on the agenda, so I believe you have some packets in your background information on what they're all about.
Thank you, Judge, and thank you, Commissioners, for allowing me to speak with you today. I am Andy Hillier, and I work with Purchasing Power. Okay. What I'm going to introduce today is a goodwill benefit that can be offered by the county to the county employees. Purchasing Power is a program that through payroll deduction allows employees of the county to purchase items such as computers, electronics, and retail appliances through payroll deduction at no interest and no increasing interest and no credit check through payroll deduction paid over a 12-month period. And the reason that we have come to the county is with all of the things in society happening today with the credit crunch and the raising of the interest rates, the shenanigans that the banks are playing, and also with the retail credit rate going up to 23 to 29%, Purchasing Power is an additional option that would allow these employees to purchase these quality of life items through payroll deduction at no credit check and no high retail interest. So in a nutshell, that's the elevator speech of what we do. I have included a presentation here that kind of goes over some of the key factors. And one of the things that's important about this program is when this program is implemented, there's absolutely no cost or liability to the county. So and what I mean by that is if an individual purchases a refrigerator and is terminated or quits, there's no liability to the county. It's between the employee and Purchasing Power to make arrangements.
Why don't you walk us through real quick? If someone does want to buy a refrigerator, just walk me through. What happens?
Okay, if a person wants to buy a refrigerator, there's two ways that they can purchase the item. They can either go online and purchase the item just like you would at a Best Buy or an Amazon, where it comes up with the product, the specs of the product, the warranty, the cost of the product, and they can add it to their cart, and it would break it down based on what their pay cycle is, what their payment would be over a 12-month period, either biweekly or weekly. And at that point, or an individual can call our customer hotline and talk through some of the products, tell what they're looking for. We can talk about different options, different packages. All of our products come with manufacturer warranty. They're all name brand products, brands you'd recognize like Sears, Kenmore, Dell, HP, Sony, Apple, Panasonic, all name brand products. So an employee purchases that product and they sign an agreement stating the terms of the agreement, and the agreement is between Purchasing Power and employee. Then the employee would get, based on their tenure requirements and the salary requirements, so if they met those stipulations, working for the county for at least a year, and an income of at least $16,000, we would coordinate that product back to the employee within usually 6 to 10 days. So they could have that product within their household within 6 to 10 days.
one of the key factors of this is we're really structuring our program. We're not a discount program. We're not. If cash is always the best possibility. If you have cash and you can part with the cash, you're always better to go to the different stores and purchase cash. Now, where we compete is against the retail financing with all the added interest and the minimum payments and all the steps that go along with paying off that credit card and the rent-to-own. Because we know that this is a year anniversary to Dolly, and we know that people had to purchase these items, and we are giving them an alternative where they can do it over a disciplined period of time, a 12-month period through payroll reduction. So it just becomes a part of their daily pay structure.
Who sets the credit limits for them? Do you do it based, like on what you said a few minutes ago, based on tenure and compensation?
It's based on
How do y'all make money?
Well,
That's what I was going to ask.
yeah, that's a great question. Well, what we do is, like I said, we're not a discount program, so let's say you had a laptop that you could go to Best Buy and pay $1,000 for. On our program, that laptop may be $1,200.
So what's the implied interest that you're charging?
It just depends. It just depends on the product line. It is going to be lower than the retail financing, and I can get you some examples of how we lie on different product lines based on laptop computers, home appliances.
Are you talking 6%, 12%, 15%? Just give me a ballpark of what it would be.
I'd say anywhere between 12 and then 25%, depending on, I mean, you're going to get some of your items, and this is, when you buy like an iPod Nano through payroll reduction, your premium is going to be a lot higher because you're basically financing a product that you could probably go buy for $150, and now when you add $50 to it, it really raises that number up. But when you get more competitive with laptops, we've been seeing we're being competitive with retail in some
What
cases.
happens when the employee decides to discontinue the automatic payroll deduction? What recourse do you have against them, or, obviously you said we don't have any liability, but what would you do against the employee?
Well, basically, we ask for alternate means of bank account or additional credit card. Now, we don't run those credit checks, so we don't actually ding their credit to see, but we do have a credit recovery team, that does go after and try to make arrangements with that employee. And, we run a pretty tight ship on our tenure requirements based on industry, and so we really have eliminated a lot of those employees that are trying to get going-away presents.
So the advantage to the employee is that you're giving them credit, actually,
Yes.
for a year. And the advantage for you is that you're collecting interest.
Well,
That's what it is.
it is interest, okay? There's no way around it. There is an interest there, but it is a set interest that is not a reoccurring interest, so that there's no late fees. There's not the yearly fees that come with the credit cards and all the add-ons. What you see when you purchase the item is the price, shipping, handling, warranty, and everything. So it's just an added convenience fee into that can be construed as interest, but at a rate lower than what they're going to get through a rent-to-own or a retail.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a business for you.
That's
If not,
correct.
you wouldn't be standing before us. And as far as I'm concerned, it is interest. But it is an advantage to the employee that doesn't have good credit or whatever. Now, let me go back to, so you don't have collectors as such. You pass, if someone doesn't pay, the convenience for you is that it's being deducted from their pay.
That's correct. It has to be run through payroll reduction.
Okay, let's say that I buy a sports car. Can I do it through you?
Well, we don't sell sports cars.
You don't sell sports cars.
We
Okay.
do limit our,
I'll be retiring in a year and a half, so I thought maybe...
well, our credit limit's
No, I don't want a
based
washing
on...
machine. I want something that's fine.
There you go.
Anyway, one of the products that can be bought.
Okay, let's use a laptop.
And then I decide, well, I'm not going to pay anymore, so I'll tell...
Payroll.
Yeah, the auditor, well, who would... it would-
Payroll.
Payroll, that I don't want that deduction anymore. And then, at that point, you do what?
Well, there's two things. We either work out a payment plan off of without any action with the county.
So you don't repossess the item?
Well, I mean, that is one of our options. I mean, it is. And one thing that...
So the options are you repossess, or you give this account to some agency, is that what you said?
Well, we actually keep it in-house for a period of time and try to work out. We have our own collection department,
Okay.
not
But
recovery department,
if I
is what we
still
call it.
refuse and don't want to pay, and I tell you, here it is, you just come and pick it up?
Well, I mean, it's a very good question, but in the truth, if you look across our book of business, and some of our clients that you may recognize are HEB, the federal government, the Border Patrol, we just signed on Starr County Regional Hospital, Progresso ISD. We stay away from a lot of the industries that usually have those types of patterns. The county governments are really good underwriting business for us, and we underwrite the tenure. But we do understand that we do have some losses. I mean, it's just a part of doing business, but it's manageable losses.
Okay, now I have another question. What if the item is not working properly?
All of our products are sold with manufacturer's warranty, and all of, they have a full access. 77% of our calls from customers get handled on the very first call, and that's not talking.
So they call you?
Yes, they call us. They don't talk to the county at all. So we're our first, second, and third attempt to get the resolution, and 77% of our calls are resolved within the first call, not transferred to somebody else to call, but that first person that they call.
This is strictly online shopping, right?
It's online shopping, but we do have the ability for the individual to call our
Go down to a
800.
retail store and buy something?
No.
Right? So
Right.
it's pretty much online or 800 number, right?
Yes, correct.
So they can't go down to your local Walmart or Best Buy and buy something, say, hey, I want to buy this and finance it for me, right? Okay.
One of the things, I was looking at your bar chart here, and the colors are kind of close together, but I'm not able to discern whether or not there's any sales tax revenues coming in from someone who would buy through your program.
Well, it's a self-reported sales tax because it's, in Texas, there's actually, on our program, because it's out of Atlanta, there's not a sales tax applied, so that's even a further reduction, but it is up to the employee to report that if
Because they're buying it outside the state.
that's right.
And it's being shipped probably from the manufacturer's warehouse.
That's correct.
Direct to
Yes.
But you also include in the cost, as you mentioned, the shipping, the handling,
Yes. All of that is included.
and a warranty. Personally, and this is just, I guess, my tweak, when I buy a computer something or a refrigerator, I don't normally buy the extended warranty on it because I just don't. I haven't found them to be that beneficial. Would one of the customers have the option of not purchasing that if they didn't want to purchase
Well,
it?
the premise of the warranty is to protect that individual that gets 6 months down the line into this program and then go into the employer group and complain, hey, this thing's, it's really for the protection of the employee and the integrity of the program, so that we're not implementing these programs where they just, there's no manufacturer. I mean, you're going to get a year manufacturer warranty from the refrigerator. You're going to get a 3-year. Yeah, I mean, you're going to get the manufacturer warranty. But on some laptops, it's a 3-year warranty.
Any other questions?
I'd like to hear something from our county auditor. How would this affect your payroll department?
We had I met with these two individuals. That they went up to the office to present their program or their package and to entertain the feasibility of the county entering into it. And my concern that I expressed to them was who was going to authorize the start and the stoppage of the payroll deduction. And since apparently this is all done through the internet, if an individual, let's use a refrigerator since it's been used. They buy a refrigerator, the refrigerator breaks down, and granted, you know, the representation has been made that the communication lines would be kept open. You know, the employee goes home, everything is ruined, and he hasn't had a call from the company for that day, so he goes in next day to payroll, and payroll is printing on, let's say, on Wednesday, and it's Tuesday, and he says, hey, stop my deduction, you know, they haven't contacted me, I lost X amount in my, you know, groceries, you know, consumables, and I'm not gonna pay for it anymore. So, you know, our concern at that, or my concern at that point was, you know, who are we gonna look to for guidance as to when this is gonna start and stop? And if we have to stop the deduction because the payroll is running that afternoon and we stop it, and then they come in the next day, or they, at the end of the week when they get their check, they say, hey, you know, we're short so much, you know, where is the liability gonna be there to the county? And, you know, I didn't know if, you know, the county wanted to pursue this type of, go into this type of a business for the benefit of, you know, the employees. I don't know. So that was the problem that I could foresee in that. Us missing a deduction, you know, or the lack of a deduction or whatever, and then, you know, we're supposed to initiate a payroll deduction, and we don't do it for clerical error, and then for the next pay period, then we have to do 2 deductions. I don't know.
You want to answer that?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Thank you so much, Steve.
The point of the deductions, I mean, it can be as simple as a self-reporting. So if we don't get a deduction, it's not something that we're going to come back and say, we were short this much. There's some assumptions we can make when there's not a deduction, that either there's been a termination or just a clerical error. And in a situation like that, you know, we know that happens, and so there's other ways for us to extend that on so that there's not double payments. It's you know, you can't help clerical errors, but most of our stuff is handled, 99% of our stuff is handled on an electronic basis. But so if the deduction was not, let's say we missed 2 months of deductions, we can make the assumption that then let's say that we weren't notified that person was terminated or quit, we can make that assumption that is being had, so there's no reconciliation on that part.
So if I'm a tenured employee for Cameron County, I make more than $16,000, but I owe 10 times more than I should outside of Cameron County. I come to Purchasing Power, they're not going to check my credit. You said you don't ding my credit reports.
That's correct.
You're not going to do any of that. You don't know how extended I am outside of my purchasing ability of what I get on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. So in essence, this is kind of like the secondary mortgage type of thing?
Well, it ends up happening, it doesn't matter to them, because they're going to get the money as a
But
payroll
it matters to
deduction.
me, because I have a fundamental issue with secondary type
Well,
mortgage.
if you look at our
Because it
demographics,
gets people in situations sometimes
they can't
where it's
handle
real easy to do something, because it's gotten me there.
well, I mean, I guess, if you look at our demographics,
See,
Sure.
if you would be a more responsible group to me if you did check credit, if you made sure that a person would not be overextended, and if you would give them some advice, possibly if they should not purchase a product yet till they cleared some of outstanding debts.
sure. And that's a very valid point. And if you look at our demographics of who is our purchasers in the profile, you can see that a lot of our employees, the majority of our employees that are purchasing products are between $30,000 and $50,000 a year. So we have less than, we have 3% that are making less than.
Yeah, but many times, you know, how much a person makes has absolutely no bearing on what,
How much debt they have.
how much debt they've incurred and where they're at with it.
I can see, just to summarize from what I've seen and what you have said, the advantage for you is that you don't have to worry about collecting because we're doing it for you.
Correct.
And the other advantage is that it's on the internet, you don't have all this people in the, well, you do it in your office, I guess, but still online makes it a lot easier for you.
Right.
What the advantage for the employees, but it's just like Commissioner Garza said, it can get them in trouble. if they don't have good credit, this is an easy way to get into more debt.
Well, I mean, you're right, and one of the biggest two stock increases over this financial depression that we're having is the Aaron's rent-to-own and the Rent-A-Center. So these individuals can go into those locations and still purchase those items with no credit check. And so we're really not targeting, I mean, that as it's not just the credit challenge, it's the convenience of being able to have it payable electric, or having appliances go out and during a hurricane and having to purchase, certain things and being able to pay what deducted over the convenience of 12 months. And there's a piece of paper in the marketing folder that discusses the pillars, and really what we're doing is creating a disciplined purchasing environment, because we are creating a program where they have to pay it off within 12 months, and they're not using the average 29 to 34 months on a minimum balance credit card. So it's just
But that's the whole point. Just saying you're going to have to pay in 12 months doesn't mean that they have the money to pay in 12 months. And that's why I foresee, and I guess what I'm thinking of are the people that are, for instance, are in our public works, let's say.
Right. Well, the one thing that this is not an open line of credit. I mean, it's not like if you make $16,000, we're going to give you, I mean, we have credit limits. I mean, the credit limit start at $2,500 and end at $4,000. So $4,000 is a total amount that we will extend this for credit. So it's not like we're completely opening the books and saying, and I'll tell you this, that on our average book of business, all of our clients, the average purchase price is $1,300. So it's well within, it's not stuff that they're going to buy because they got this magic card and have a shopping spree. It's things that they really need and they can't purchase it through any other method.
Any other questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge the presentation?
So moved.
Second. By Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Gatsa. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Item B, presentation by the Office of the Comptroller regarding the Texas Tuition Promise Fund.
Yes, Ms. Anna Millett from the Comptroller's Office is here. She's got some information she's going to share with us today.
Good evening. My name is Anna Millett. I work with the Office of the Comptroller in Austin. Thank you for allowing me to be here this evening to talk with you just a little bit about our Texas Tuition Promise Fund. I am in charge of education and awareness in promoting this program. And it was launched back September 1, 2008. You guys should all have a package in front of you with the plan overview as well as my contact information. The whole idea behind this plan, and I'm here today basically because you guys are the avenue on the sort of the grassroots level to get this information out into the community. I'm just letting people know that the program is going to be reopening September 1. It will be enrollment period September 1 through February 28th. The whole idea behind the program and the whole benefit behind the program is it allows families to prepay college education, and the benefit is you're not only prepaying it, but you're locking it into today's tuition rates. It's based on prepaying units of tuition. One unit of tuition is roughly just a little less than 1 semester hour. So a family can prepay as little as 1 unit all the way up to the entire 4 years. So it's flexible, it's affordable, and it's designed to make families aware, college is attainable, and to help them start saving. I know I'm professionally and personally passionate about this program because I'm a parent as well, and I know I'm trying to put bread on my table and make ends meet, and the program is that flexible to let families know. So I'm here basically just to let people know that the program's reopening. I had a chance to meet with your HR director, Manuel Villarreal, And he was aware of the program as well. He invited us to come and participate into your benefit fairs. I believe you guys are having in October. So I'm going to be coming and participating, I believe, one in San Benito and one here. So just providing general awareness, and would be glad to entertain any questions you may have at this time.
I just want to double
Yes, ma'am.
check on will it start again, September 1st?
September 1 is our general enrollment, yes, ma'am, until February 28th. And basically, this plan replaces, I don't know if you're all familiar with it, replaces the old Texas Tomorrow Fund. It's the brand-new plan by the comptroller.
What is the major difference between this plan and the Tomorrow Fund?
The Tomorrow Fund, you could only buy a 2-year or a 4-year contract, and I believe it had to be public or private.
Right.
This one, like I mentioned, is based on units, so...
It can be less.
I'm sorry?
It can be less than the 2 years.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The options, it makes it more flexible and more affordable. One of the other things designed in this plan is it will transfer to out-of-state and to private universities. Your units will, but it's only going to transfer at the value of what it would be for a Texas public school. It's designed for Texas public schools.
So, and if someone signs up for, let's say, 1 year
Yes, ma'am.
of college, and then they decide they want to increase it later on, they can do that?
Absolutely. Once you've, during that enrollment period, once you've established the contract, you can add or reduce units at any time. It's set up to, of course, where you could pay it all up front if you'd like. You can do installments, 5 years, 10 years, or up even until the child graduates high school. So it makes it very, very affordable as far as extending those payments.
Thank you.
It's just the idea of putting education back into, on the top priority list. So, any other questions?
If I understood you correctly, or maybe you can help me, if someone wanted to do it, say, in the installment plan for several years, and they committed to purchasing 4 years' worth of units at today's rate,
Correct.
and so as they paid that off over the 5 years, they would still have it at today's rate.
Yes. If, for example, if you bought 1 year of type 1 unit, $9,800 at today's rate, which is the 2009 rate, and you have a 5-year-old. When that 5-year-old goes off to college and is accepted into UT, you have paid $9,800, and the tuition most likely is going to be for 1 year, 12 years from now is going to be $15,000, $16,000, or, So you've prepaid it and you've locked it into today's current rate, and that's the benefit behind the plan.
So you're competing increased rates against interest that might be earned on the money during that period of time.
Exactly.
And historically, or at least the last few years, several years, the rates have gone up a lot greater than interest.
6 to 7%, 6% for public universities, 7% for private.
But if you do buy,
Can I get a payroll deduction for it? That's what I want.
Actually, you can, but I wasn't even going to bring that up. There are options, and I was going to kind of test it and see what kind of interest the county employees had, and discuss it with your payroll department and see if it's something you guys would be interested in doing. But different ways to pay for it. You can have it automatically drafted out of your account, or of course, write a check up front as well. So.
if you do an installment plan, there is an interest associated with it.
A 7% interest,
Right.
correct.
Who is the holder of this money before you use it?
Oppenheimer Funds is the plan manager, and they contract with the state.
And who benefits from the interest earned on those funds?
The account holders.
How would the account holder benefit?
Because the interest that's built into the plan is a safeguard for the rising tuition, if that makes sense. It's, the fund is growing over time, and it's
You would
thus
hope.
creating the safeguard, which
You
is
would
a...
hope that it's growing over time.
Well, you would hope. Ideally, it would grow over time.
Yeah.
And it would build in that safeguard. The different, and I'll explain to you. The Texas Tomorrow Fund, what happened with that was the tuition rates were increasing faster
Than the
than the fund was. So the legislature created this program back in 2007, and basically what it did was it shifted the risk from the account holder to the universities. So universities are required by statute to honor this rate. And that's the whole difference in the design of...
So where does Oppenheimer come in?
Oppenheimer is contracted with the state and the prepaid higher education board, which the comptroller sits on, and they're contracted to administer the plan. If that makes any sense at all. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I hear a motion to acknowledge?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo. Second by Commissioner Garcia. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, item carries. Consent items. Are there any consent items any member of the court wish to take out and discuss separately?
Would it make any difference? Probably not. C and D are in reverse order, 5C and D. On the agenda, C is for Ranchito subdivision, and on the background information, it's D. That won't matter, will it, when we make the...
Not on the background, because we're approving the agenda item.
I have a question on Q.
What was it?
Q.
Q?
Okay, let's take out Q.
B.
B is in boy.
Yes, sir.
B,
T like in Tom.
T like in Tom.
Yeah. U like in Ulysses L. Grant.
U,
Tip. That's it.
On W, the travel for precinct 1, that's also subject to them approving it as continuing education hours, if that's okay, Commissioner.
That's fine.
They still haven't,
Double P.
as in Paul?
Yes, sir. We need to table that item.
Oh, okay. Anything else? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve all consent items with the exception of 5B, there were 5Q, T, U, double P to be tabled, W, subject to continuing education? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Benavides. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, item carries. Item B, consideration and approval of interlocal agreement between Cameron County, the City of Brownsville, and the Brownsville Independent School District for sidewalk improvements on Vermillion Road.
Judge, I just wanted to let the court know that for several years now, we have 2 schools on Vermillion Road that are adjacent to each other. That's Lucio Middle School and Vermillion Elementary. And through the years, several efforts have been made to try and get sidewalks, to get the county to build sidewalks. Well, as you know, we don't do that. But I was contacted by Ray Arteaga from the BISD, and he told me that they wanted to come to the table to see if we could come up with some solution. And so we called Commissioner Ricardo Longoria, and we all met. And so this would give us approximately close to a mile of sidewalk. The kids are actually, you know, the county roads are rather narrow, so the kids are having to walk on the actual street, and it's becoming more and more of a public hazard, especially for the safety of our students. So therefore, we would be doing the actual preparing of the sidewalk area. The city will do the actual paving of the sidewalks, and the school district will provide the monies for the materials to be used.
Are these concrete?
Yes. So I think this is really great, and it's really, really needed, and what we wanted to do is move on it fast enough so that maybe we can get this project done before school starts.
Please, is that your motion to approve?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I just have one question.
Moved by Commissioner Benavides.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garza. Discussion.
Question. Who is certifying ADA compliance on this sidewalk? Is it our engineer, city's engineer, or someone else?
Probably be a combination of our Public Works Department and Brownsville Independent School District.
Well, no, but somebody's got to do, I mean, when we make a public facility such as this, we have to make sure it's ADA compliant.
Right.
And somebody has to certify that.
Well, I would think she explained who was responsible for what, so where would it fall? In which category?
Because I don't see that addressed on the interlocal.
We can go back to the BISD, but I would imagine that the BISD would be,
I don't think it'd be BISD.
It has to be like
It's whoever's building it. Who's building it?
And in actuality, if you, I think the first 1,100 feet from Boca Chica in to Vermillion is city, and then past that, it is county. So I think the great majority of this project is going to be in county
jurisdiction.
jurisdictions.
And my thing is, I just don't want someone to come up to us like after it's built and say, well, you didn't do ADA compliance on this entrance ramp. Or as long as someone is willing to make sure that occurs, you know.
Okay.
Who do we have on staff that can make that? We don't have any.
We always hire out someone. There's like professional ADA folks that make sure that you're.
Judge and Commissioners, I didn't know there was this thing going on, but basically...
You don't know what's going on.
No, I mean, as far as who was going to do what, construction-wise. But to answer the question, it would have to be the designer. Who's going to design the sidewalk?
See, that was my question, because in the...
And that would have to be a professional person, either an architect, an engineer, that sort of thing.
That's why.
So make sure it meets all...
Well, let me do this. Look, I think it's a great idea. This has been going on for years and years, I remember. Let's get the interlocal, let's approve it, subject to legal looking at it and getting with maybe school district legal and city legal and come up with something. It should be one entity that's going to do this.
Yes.
Okay? I don't think you want to have three different entities certifying three different sections of it. So just try to do one. It can be one. Do it and just, get the interlocal. David, get the interlocal back to get all the legal people together and see who can do it. Now, there's going to be an inherent cost to it, and I guess it gets divided up between the city and the school district.
I have no problem approving it, just.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, well, but also that and have our legal folks look at it as well. Okay? All right? Okay.
It has to be a professional person to sign off on the plans.
All unprofessional, as long as they get it done, all right?
Sign it and stamp it.
All right, motion and second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, item carries. Item Q, consideration authorization to execute change order number 1, 2009-07024 to contract number 2009 CO 4142, awarded to Odin Contracting, Inc. for the Sea Ranch Marina seawall reconstruction.
What is this, Javier?
Commissioner, this is a seawall that's...
What is a change order? I know what, I visited the area yesterday, but what does the change order entail?
The change order, what it entails is 240 square feet of concrete. What we're doing is we're widening the sidewalk that abuts up to the seawall.
Okay.
From a 4-foot to a 5-foot. We're relocating an electrical box that was attached to the existing deck of the marina, or the dock space. When we attached the seawall, when it came and met with the existing dock, there was an electrical box there, so we had to relocate that. And then we're deleting the water line capping and all the...
So they basically did this work already? right?
Yes, sir.
The work is done already. Okay? No problem. All right. Move to approve.
So moved by Commissioner Gatz, second by Commissioner Wood. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Item T, consideration and approval to establish purchase order cutoff date on August 31st, 2009, or alternate date as determined by the Commissioners Court for the current fiscal year with exception of emergencies as approved by the county auditor. We do this on an annual basis. Michael, you want to, do you have a specific question, Commissioner?
My specific question was, are we doing August 31st or alternate date?
It'd be at the court's preference,
It's gonna
whatever
be-
date.
He's giving us August 31st or another date. August 31st is fine.
Okay.
Unless you have a different date that the court wants to use.
Well,
You're right.
Because last year, I think we used an earlier date.
Right, I think
I was
it
gonna
the
say, it was
15th,
earlier.
The 15th last year.
I believe last year we used August the 15th.
Correct.
This would exclude grant funding.
So why is it 8/31 versus 8/15?
Last year was the first year we did a date different.
And how'd it work?
31st, so
Work all right?
up to the court, whatever date the court would like.
I mean, it's all subject to money available.
No, really, I think there's a purpose for having the cutoff date set up. And it's, so whatever days you guys want, I mean,
Well, I wanted to see if you had, my question was which of the two, the 31st, or did you have an alternate date?
August the 15th would really work better.
Move
We
to
have
approve,
work-
Judge.
Second, August 15th.
Thank you.
moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Tamayo to, I guess, approve the August 15th, 2009 as an alternate date for the cutoff of POs, with the exception of the emergencies, grants. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Item U, consideration approval of new independent procedures for the purchasing department. These are new and improved, right, Michael?
Hopefully.
New and improved, right?
Hopefully.
All right.
Go for it.
Yes, sir.
Mike, if there was one major change, what is it?
Sir, you would, probably the second one, the bid openings.
Yeah.
And the reason being, at this purchasing seminar that we attend each and every year at the island, as we sat in the meeting for counties, there were about 23 counties present, and one of the questions that came out at the seminar was, are there any counties still opening the bids in Commissioners Court? And we were the only ones doing so. And the people that were actually conducting that seminar for counties recommended that that's an area that we need to address, and in assistance to the vendors, it's rare when they come to the court meetings at night, usually because the employer doesn't pay them to work late in the evenings after 5. So to try and accommodate the vendors, they recommended that I suggest to the court, to try and fall in line with the other counties and open the bids in the purchasing department. To try and ensure that we do it the right way, we'd like someone from the auditor's office present, as well as someone from the clerk's office, ideal with the recorder to record, and of course the vendors would be there as well.
And that would occur the day after?
That would occur the day after. We're looking...
meeting.
Right. Hopefully, we'll have in all the bids, now we can put the official time to open bids and the location, and we're hoping to do it at 10 o'clock, and we would do it the day after the court meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Move to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa. Second. Second by Commissioner Wood. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Item double P was tabled. Items for discussion. 6A, budget amendments, line item transfers, and/or salary schedules.
Judge and Commissioners, I placed before you a packet of budget amendments and line item transfers. The first 2 pages are actual budget amendments, setting up some funding for some bioterrorism grants, and then there's also one for under general administration, setting up the funding for the purchase of the building in Rio Hondo. After that, line item transfers within numerous departments. They're within budget. Let me see if there's anything extraordinary that I can recall. Engineering. Unless the court has any specific questions to any of the ones listed. We
Recommend
that
approval?
Yes.
Do I hear a motion?
So
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo. Second by Commissioner Gatsa. Discussion?
What's the ORAS grant?
I believe there's someone here from the health department who can
It's the health.
describe specifically what they do.
Well, no, just, what is that grant?
It's a general grant that's provided by DSHS to assist the health department to provide overseeing both environmental, the clinics, and everything having to do with public health.
Okay, and we're not utilizing extra help at all?
No, we had initially put in for extra help, but we ended up hiring a full-time employee.
Okay.
So I'm just reallocating the funds.
So just, okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, item carries. Before we go to approval of claims, let me go to item V. Consideration and action authorizing county auditor to refund citation of service fee as per the attached schedule. If you all recall, this is the one we talked about last couple of weeks ago?
That's the
or-
one we talked about and that we addressed
Monday.
at
Yeah, Monday.
Monday's meeting, yes.
You know, I want to bring up Commissioner Garza up to speed on it, since he wasn't here at the meeting, as to what has occurred and what's going on.
At the meeting on Monday, there was, I had brought it up to the court's attention that we should void those claims that had been tabled from the prior week where we were processing the...
Right.
Okay, so my recommendation was to void those. There was some discussion on that. And then the court voted at that point to go ahead and void those checks that the treasurer was still holding and to put an agenda item on for this meeting to refund the citation fee to the plaintiff that had paid the citation fee. So this is a refund of the citation fee going back to the plaintiff, because what we would be doing, or what,
Well, how many plaintiffs are there in this?
it's check numbers, should be 71. And there is a check register attached for approval at tonight's meeting as well.
On
That's
this
why
one?
we're discussing this one first before we approve the claims. So this is reimbursing back the citation fee that has been collected by these offices to the people that requested the citation of service.
In this item,
Even
V,
though service was
Yes.
provided.
Wasn't provided by the county,
Right, it
though.
wasn't provided by the county, but a service was provided
By the civil process
by
server.
the civil process. You know, they were collecting money.
Yeah, no, I understand the
Remember all that?
concept.
Okay, so then, since we voided the checks and we're going to the individual process servers, there was discussion about putting it on about refunding the money to the people that paid. So it's going to be up to them if they want to pay on their own, after a service has been provided, if they want to pay the civil processors, the private civil processors, the monies that they left in the registry of Cameron County.
Is this legal, Mr. Counsel?
yes, sir. The money is being refunded to the party that paid it because they didn't get the service they paid for. They paid for service by the sheriff.
Well, but service was paid for a lot of other ones that have already been dispersed. Are we going to be held liable for refunding that too?
That's an issue that would have to be taken to court. It's it's potential that's out there.
I think the potential that's out there, and I think you're right, is that anybody, and who knows how far back they can go, could this happen, we may be forced to refund the money if we set the precedent now.
Well, we are setting the precedent.
As well as if it's approved.
What we're also doing is, we're not paying for services that someone provided, which we had been doing for several years, until we discovered recently that we couldn't legally do that. So ignorance, I don't think, is, going to keep us from being held liable for doing something for all these years that we've been doing. As we talked before, I think all of it, or most of us agreed that what we probably should have done was said, okay, we can't do it anymore. This is the last day it's going to be done, but pay for the service to the people who have provided the service as we had been doing for all these years. But we chose not to do that. We chose to stop it basically retroactive.
Stop it, yeah.
Yeah, and people had already provided services. Now, if we keep this money that we didn't provide the service for, we paid that other money out previously to people who did provide service. So they got paid for it and the service was provided. Service was provided, but we haven't paid this money out, and apparently we're not going to. How can we legally keep the money where we didn't do anything to provide? It's a mess.
It
It's
just
a
depends on how
mess.
far you want to go, because then the argument could be made is that, you know what, we've made a whole bunch of illegal payments over the years. Go back and see who we illegally paid, get that money back from them because we illegally paid them, and then give it back to the plaintiffs.
But we're not holding that money. That's
We're not holding that, but we did made, I mean, I'm just telling you what potentially is out there, because we've made illegal payments. And that's already been digested. We've made illegal payments.
Legal says I can do it, so.
No, we can do this, but there's nothing to prevent something from happening. All right.
I move to approve.
Or second.
Moved by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Gatz. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, item carries. Approval of county claims.
Okay, are those county claims, those $60 ones, like in the back here?
Yes,
Okay.
it was on a check run that was run today, and I have warrants number 222935 through 222937, check register 72109.
One question. Are we going to make sure and include in those checks some kind of an explanation so that folks won't be getting a check and not knowing what they're getting? Should we not include something, Richard?
Yes, I think I can get with the auditor and draft a very short sentence or paragraph explaining it. We could do
Because
that.
all of these folks are not expecting to get these checks.
That's correct, yes.
It could simply be explained to them that the service paid for was service by a constable or a sheriff, and service was provided by a process server, so the fee is being returned.
Okay, thank you.
The next
Maybe
register,
also let them know that in the future, we're not going to be making these payments.
Well, the JPs have
Case
been,
of call,
the JPs have been advised, the auditor gave them a letter, and then the auditor and I have met with the JPs, and actually only two of them were currently doing it, and they both acknowledged that they could not do it.
And a couple of the people
Future will
that have,
take it out of their budget.
a couple of the servers have contacted me, and they have been told by the JPs that where it originated at, that it's no longer going to happen that way. So apparently the JPs are getting the word out.
I also have warrants number 222941 through 223067. Those are payroll-related claims, and the register is dated July 22nd. Warrants number 223068 through 223099. That check register is dated July 23rd of 09. And we have another accounts payable run that is dedicated to those citation fees, and those are warrants number 223100 through 223171, also dated July 23rd. I also have payroll dated July 24th of 09, and that payroll totals $1,584,850.51 for your approval.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Gatz. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, item carries. Item C, approval of minutes for June the 24th, 2009, special meeting. Do I hear a motion? Has the court had the opportunity to read the minutes?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gatz. I have a second by Commissioner Tamayo. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, item carries. Do I hear a motion to table item D?
So moved.
By Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Gatz. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, item carries. Item E, discussion and possible action regarding the approval of an order appointing the members of the Padre Island Zoning Commission. We discussed this last time. Everybody got their names ready to go? Commissioner Tamayo?
Send them to Pete.
Okay. Who's your appointee?
Luis R. Hernandez, and the address is 3100 East 14th Street, Brownsville, Texas. I have his phone number.
We have two lawyers on there.
My appointee is, couldn't serve, I found out this afternoon.
Okay, you want to wait? Okay. My appointee, Horacio Barrera. Commissioner Wood?
My appointee is waiting response from his employer. I should hear that next week.
Okay, Commissioner Benavides, this yours is Dora Wells, right?
Doria Wells.
Okay. All right.
Something that I wanted to, because I was confused on what we were appointing, but after visiting with Richard extensively on it, it appears that what we're appointing is a commission to rezone everything, and once they do that, then that commission dissolves. They're no longer appointed, they're
But I
no
hope
longer
that there's
serving anymore.
I think we need to ask the commission, or this new commission, is to look at, if they can, if it, and Richard just kind of guide me on this, if it's within their purview to look at a master zoning plan, and have some kind of a plan for the development of the north end of the island, would that be within their?
Certainly, in fact, they're supposed to design it with a comprehensive
Well,
plan.
they don't have a plan yet. They're going to have to develop a plan.
Yeah,
Not
well,
just-
they can do that, but I want to step back. Do we have 7? Because the statute requires
We've only
7.
got 5 potentially. We're waiting for the city of South Padre Island and the developers that are out here to, recommend somebody from their group.
Well, we can't approve the order till we have
So we want
7.
to wait?
We
Okay,
have to
well,
have the names?
You have to have 7, yes.
okay, well, let's table the item.
Okay, and I asked Richard also, this is a group that's going to be in place till the plan is approved and then they disappear.
Yes,
That's what he said?
yes, the language of the statute doesn't say they're dissolved, but it tasks them only with the adoption of the initial ordinance, and then the language of the statute says adoption also includes any amendment thereto. It does not have a term, which tells me once their task is completed, they no longer have anything to do. The very next paragraph sets up a Board of Adjustment, and that Board of Adjustment has a 2-year term, which is the kind of language that would be necessary in appointment of a zoning commissioner if they were going to continue.
Well, where would they go if someone wanted to change a zoning?
They would go to the Board of Adjustment the difference is, the Board of Adjustment can grant a variance or an exception to a regulation. They can't change the boundary of a district or change a regulation. That has to be done by a zoning commission. But, we're a little different than a municipality, and the statute that enables us to do it is rare for a county, but it probably perceives that, because in a municipality, they can annex new territory, which continually needs a zoning commission.
Wouldn't there need to be an ongoing board?
Well, there's no provision for it, Judge, because, in other words, it just has, the statute has a provision for appointment, and it has a duty. Their duty is to make a report to the Commissioners Court. There's a process they have to go through with publication of their meetings. Once they have reported to the court their preliminary report, there's no further duty defined for them in the statute.
Okay, so, but at that point, then, we would appoint a Board of Adjustments?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the problem with that, and I say it's a problem, it may not be a problem, if the Board of Adjustments can only grant variances and some changes and not zoning, then a developer or a builder or someone may have difficulty, I'm not saying they would, but they may have difficulty trying to borrow money at a financial institution to build something that really didn't comply with the zoning, but was given a variance because it's very likely that someone who is also, say, a next-door neighbor could take them to court because they're actually building in an area that doesn't comply with what the zoning is. They're just giving a variance to do that. So the statute is 55 years old and hasn't had a lot of changes made to it. 55 years ago, things were a lot different than they are today.
And I don't know if that statute
would.
would fly anymore.
It may not.
You know, we
But
try to get it.
we really need something in place that can change the zonings, the actual zonings, because when we master plan zoning it, which it already has, everything's zoned right now.
Single
From
family.
55 or 54 years ago. But it doesn't necessarily conform to what might be developed today or tomorrow, or even if we have our zoning commission remaster plan it. Things are going to come up in the future that are going to be requesting changes in zoning. And if we don't have a permanent board of some sort in place to do that, then we're going to be appointing zoning commissions.
Well, that was my
every so
question,
often.
that after these folks did their duty, whatever they had to do, that we go ahead and we appoint a board of adjustments, I guess, to be on call.
Well, the Board of Adjustment is, but they can't change the zoning boundaries, and they can't change the zoning regulations. They can only grant variances
Correct.
or exceptions.
Correct.
Now, I can't specifically address Commissioner Wood's inquiry because the statute simply doesn't provide for it. It would be my interpretation of the statute, the way it's drafted, that if you, at a later date, determined that there was an error initially, or an error in the zoning ordinance, that you would simply have to, again, appoint a commission to address it. Again, it's a little different than a municipality because a municipality annexes, and they have a continual potential to change zoning. We do not. We can't. Our zoning, what we can zone is limited right now. You can never get any greater. It can get less if the city of South Padre annexes more, but we can't gain more. We can't get more county. That's it.
All right, well, let's table till we get all the names.
Well, I have a question. Should we have worded that agenda item differently?
I can't.
To where it would be specific that commission that we're appointing the members to will only serve until their job is done, and then it's dissolved? Does it have to be, should we be specific about it?
Let me look at the order real fast, Commissioner. I don't have it in front of me.
You know what, look at it, we're going to table it anyway, because we don't have all the names. Look into that, then bring that back at the next meeting, okay?
Okay.
Okay, do I hear a motion to table?
So moved.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, and by Commissioner Gatz, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. We've done item F, we've done item G. And item H, consideration and direction by Commissioners Court concerning amendment of the county's purchasing policy in relation to the increase in the statutory threshold under local government code, section 262.023.
Judge, Commissioners, the governor on June the 19th signed into law House Bill 987, which changes the section of the local government code 262.023A. If you look on page 3, you'll see the current 262.023A. Before the county may purchase one or more items under a contract that will require an expenditure exceeding $25,000, the Commissioners Court of the county must comply with the competitive bidding or proposal procedures prescribed. With that House bill signed by the governor, that has now changed to $50,000. The page following the statute is the county's current procedure. Current procedure is $15,000 to $25,000. 3 quotations are still received. However, $15,000 to $25,000, those quotations are brought before the Commissioners Court for their approval before a purchase order can be issued. What we'd like to get from the court, if possible, is direction as to how, with the change in the statute, how would the court like us to move forward as far as the procedure relative to the increase to $50,000.
Mike, I don't think we need to loosen the procurement process. I mean, I think we leave it the way it is, even though we can go up to 50. I think we leave it that way, and just, you know, do what you're doing now, bring it to the court for approval. $50,000 is a lot of money, right, to let somebody make a decision like that without coming to the Commissioner's Court.
Well, Judge, do you understand that 50,000 was changed by statute?
I understand, but we have the option, though, not to go to 50,000.
Well, you're at 15.
Correct.
And you have the option of staying there.
Right, I don't want to leave, I mean, I don't want to do that.
So, Judge, next week, if I'm understanding right, I'd like to come back to the court with procedure revisions that all they'll say is basically what you see here on the sheet as far as the procedure, but if I'm understanding correctly, you'd like all quotations to be brought to the court from 15 to 25,000, and then I will say from 25 to 50,000, the county's policy will be to continue bidding.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Well, it's 25,000 and above.
Exactly. 25,000 and above, and the county's policy will be to continue bidding.
Well, Judge, understanding what you were saying, you didn't want to change your policy, and your policy right now is anything over 15 has to get, what, 3 quotes?
No, I think between up to 25.
Up to 25.
We're doing 3 quotes up to 25. And if I understand correctly,
And then going out for bids from 25 and above.
Exactly.
Right.
And I can revise the policy to say
That's
that.
what we have right now.
So this policy allows us to do the 3 quotes up to 50, right? Or without having to bid up to 50.
The statute would allow
That's
that.
correct.
The county's policy.
And I don't recommend that we do that.
Just keep what we've got.
Keep what we've got.
Why do we want to change anything?
Well, what we would be doing really is addressing the
statute.
because of the statute being at 50, we're addressing the 25 to 50, or above 25.
25 and
we will
above.
bid. Right,
Bids. 25 and below, 3 quotes,
okay.
right? And what happens to those below 15,000?
We're doing 3 quotes also.
Okay, so really up to 25, 3 quotes, 25 and above.
Right. The
bids.
only reason we have the 15 there is, once the quotes get to 15 or 25, we're bringing them to the court for approval as quotes. But the way the statute is laid out now, we'd like to just be sure that the procedure addresses what is actually happening between 25 and 50, which we'll say will be a bid.
That's correct, 25 and above.
Okay.
So what do we need to make a motion here? Just that, to table till you bring it back the next time?
You'll have, right, procedures that...
Okay, move to
Motion
table.
to table.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Tamayo. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, item carries. Item I, consideration, possible action regarding reimbursement from FEMA. Anything to report, Robert?
Judge Commissioners, no recent reimbursements. Current activity is that we were able to correct the duplication and deduction. FEMA had originally deducted, there was some duplication and deduction, so we're able to correct that and bring our actual deduction back to where it should be, is at 7.7 million. Currently, we received 5.7
How much are we still owed?
2 million. Right now, it's at 2 million. It's back up to 2 million even.
I thought it was 1 million.
We were at 1.1, but we were able to correct the deductions, the duplication deductions, so it brought it back up to 7.7.
So what do we owe from FEMA, 2 million?
2 million. We've received 5.7 as of today.
So we're owed 2 million.
2 million, yes, ma'am.
Do I hear a motion to acknowledge? So moved. Moved by Commissioner Gatsa.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Benavides. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, item carries. Item J, Extension Office Staff 2, travel to Kingsville on 4/25/09 to assist in District 12 4-H Fashion Show. Who's addressing that?
That one would show a cost of $58.50. According to the documents that I saw on the agenda item, there is a reimbursement.
Is that the reimbursement, the $50?
Yeah, it's a reimbursement from, I guess, the 4-H.
So we're going to get reimbursed that?
The way I interpreted, we're going to get reimbursed 25 cents per mile, but we're paying 44 cents.
Okay, so the difference that we're at is whatever, 19 cents?
Okay.
Do I hear a motion? Second by Commissioner Gatsa, by Commissioner Wood. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, item carries. Item K, Extension Office staff traveled to Weslaco, Texas to participate in company Cameron County 4-H members attending district 4-H leadership. They've already gone?
They've already gone, they're requesting a $140 registration fee reimbursement.
Okay. A reimbursement.
Yes.
So moved. Moved by Commissioner Gatsa.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tamayo. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Item L, County Clerk to travel to Austin, Texas to the TAC conference. Joe, what's that about?
The education credits have been fulfilled.
Right.
Hours.
You got the educational requirements, you're going to TAC. It hasn't been approved yet for education yet, it probably will. No, it is not.
I probably have hours to spare, Judge, but this is probably the most important meeting that TAC has, because the legislature just finished. There's a lot of changes in the laws that we need to implement, so we need to dot the i's and cross the t's on this event. Also, that money, the funding comes from...
Records management?
Records management, yes.
So not a general fund impact? It's records management.
It shouldn't.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, if it was not general fund, then why is it as a separate item? Because I think the rule was general fund, those we scrutinized. Grants and other special that you do, you don't.
Records management funds are within the general fund and restricted to the use of the Commissioner's Court as authority on how money is spent.
Move to approve. And actually, you guys are making the interest on that particular fund.
But according to the revenue projection, we're short $55,000 in the records management revenue accounts.
Well, we have a balance, we didn't use 077 because we're going on for proposals on vital statistics and court records, and we're going to use that starting later on this year or next year.
All right. Moved by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Gatsa. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Item M, discussion, thank you, Joe. Item M, discussion and possible action regarding the fiscal year 2009-2010 budget. Those will be fast.
Judge and Commissioners, I guess I need to check with you first. I emailed you a packet. There was one yesterday afternoon and then a revised one this morning. If you don't have it, I have extra copies if anyone needs one.
I need it. I didn't bring it.
I got mine.
Is this the revised one? I think it's part of the revised one.
I'm going to ask for we're going to have a workshop, just so you all know, next week, Wednesday. Did you talk to everybody? Tuesday? Wednesday? What day?
When?
Tuesday?
Just so you know, we need to spend a whole meeting just on this, because we're running out of time.
Well, then why are we reviewing it right now?
It was on the agenda so y'all can look at it and digest it over the weekend.
This is a summary of where we're at as of today. The first page is a summary of the general fund, the revenues, expenditures. The numbers have changed since the last presentation. The significant, if you notice, on the last presentation, we were looking at a shortfall of revenues to expenditures of just over $4 million. Excuse me. Based on the projections now, after reviewing the revenues and some of the other expenditures, the deficit we're looking at is $5.6 million. The reason for the increase in the deficit was after reviewing the latest figures. The largest difference is after reviewing the latest revenue projections from the bridge system and factoring in the available transfers, the decrease in the transfers from the bridge system was a loss of an additional approximately 1.
So it's 2.1 million.
Yeah, total is 2.1. It's an additional $1.4 million loss in available transfer from the bridge system. We'll be discussing in the workshop in more detail, of course, the court had asked in reference to the fuel, which is not factored into this yet, and reducing the fuel budget. That hasn't been touched for the next year's budget. But what I did, based on our current expenditures through the month of June, and actually increasing that by another 25% and projecting that for the remainder of this fiscal year, if we were to reduce our fuel budget in the general fund to that, we could save potentially $400,000 or reduce the budget for fuel by $400,000 within the general fund. Of course, the penny increase, which we've been talking about, or that has been talked about, would generate an additional $1.2 million to the general fund. If we were to transfer a penny, of course, it's $1.2 million. And what I have here on the first page of the tax office proposal, I'll address when I'm speaking to the other pages. I have it here listed separately because of, I guess, some possible operational implications, because his proposal in his reduction of his operational budget includes the elimination of some staff personnel, which would also trigger the closing down of some of the satellite offices, and that's why that was listed separately. Over the past couple of weeks, Mrs. Velarza, myself, Pete Sepulveda, and David Garcia have met with a lot of the departments on the page, starting on page 2. Page 1 is all the revenues. The total variance to the 2009 approved column is on the right-hand side. Starting on page 2 is the expenditures. The little X's that you see in the column is a signification of the departments that we did meet with. The next to that is
Where is that?
on page 2.
Yeah, but the little what?
The little X. There's a little X next to the 2010 recommended. Next to the dollar amount.
I don't see X's.
I don't either.
Might be blind.
This-
Toward the right of the...
this is
I'm on page 2.
Oh,
No, this is page 1 to me.
well, me too, but it's not.
I think it's 2A. Okay.
Okay, that's what, so that's it, okay.
Okay.
There's a 2A, there's a 2.
Oh, they are numbered. Thank you, Javier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay, so the X's that are there are the departments that we met with, and the amounts that are next to them, where it says department reductions, those are the reductions that they brought forth or that they were recommending where they could cut within their department in order to try to reduce this deficit. The last column are reductions or increases, because in some cases there was actually increases, or things that were going back through the budget and adjusting for, and a lot of the M&Os was the increase that we have for our property insurance, adjusting for that, and some of the other reductions were related to the decrease in our workman's comp rates and things of that nature, or things where I saw that they needed to be adjusted for utilities or things like that. That's what the staff reductions column is. A more, I guess, an easier way to see that, if you go to page 1A, where it deals strictly with the expenditures, I grouped on the top part the departments that did submit reductions for their individual departments. Below that, I grouped departments with budgets up to $1 million and calculated what a 3% cut would mean to that particular department, and then departments over $1 million, what a 5% cut would mean to that individual department, and those cuts are in the far right-hand column. Of course, there's just strictly looking at the dollar amounts, you can determine what that would be, but of course, with some of the operations in our discussion, say for instance, the largest here is of course the jail, which is almost a $12 million budget. and 5% cut would be almost $600,000. I think it would be very difficult to cut that much out of the jail budget. But that's what those numbers are for those individual departments. I believe that it's going to take a combination of things in order for us to get this budget balanced. We have been, as a group, had discussions, and on the workshop, we will also have some proposals and some other ideas to discuss and put before the Commissioners Court and get more direction from the court as to where they want to go, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can call for a workshop for Tuesday morning, about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. Is that okay with everybody?
Did you say Thursday?
Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday.
That's fine.
At 8:30?
8:30? 8:30 is good. And hopefully, I'm hoping at that workshop, we got a couple of recommendations. One, we've already know about the fuel. If we transfer the maintenance of the M&O to the sheriff's office, that'll save us a chunk of money. The $100 versus $200 into the insurance fund, we've been able to build up that insurance fund balance. From 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, it was zero or deficit. We're $3 million in the black. We can probably afford now to transfer $100 per employee. It doesn't cost the employee anything from the general fund over. How much would that save? So what, 500,000?
No, that was 100.
120,000. You know, and we have to just keep looking and whittling down. There's no way we're going to balance this budget unless we have some significant expenditure cuts. I don't even think we can raise the tax rate 3 pennies.
And we received the certified values late yesterday. I'm still missing a few numbers in order to get the total tax rate calculation.
But looking at the told me today that if we kept the same tax rate,
if we
generate how much?
Based on the certified values, if we were to adopt the current tax rate, it would only generate an additional $156,000.
Okay, and we're $5 million in the hole. Okay, so I mean, it's not going to work, you know. And if we do not find a way that Martha and Javier can certify additional revenues, because I mean, every major department is down in revenues. JPs are down, county clerk is down, district clerk is down, courts are, everyone's down. Bridges is down $2 million. And there's no way we're going to balance this budget unless we go to the expenditures. There's no other way to do it unless we go to the expenditure side. We're not talking 50, 60,000. We got to come up with, you know, some big numbers. I think the shifting of the penny from I know it's going to hurt, but the shifting from the penny from the road and bridge back to general fund, the 1 penny increase, that's 2.4 million, and we're still 3 million short, or 2.5 million short. So like you said, we have to take from a lot of different places to make up, and that's with no salary increases for anyone. We're not going to balance it. I mean, the gap is too high. So on Tuesday, I've already asked Martha to come up with the numbers. I've got a good feel for what the numbers are going to be with those cuts, and I think if we do all that we can do, we're still going to be short maybe a few $100,000, but all of a sudden you get it down below $400,000 to $500,000, that's manageable. You can find something somewhere, but we're not going to find $2 or $3 million, to do that.
Javier, the penny transfer that you've got here, I see the penny increase. Penny transfer, is that the penny that you're talking about, Judge, coming from Road and Bridge?
Yeah, and I think that's what you were trying to say the other day with the, well, but you were talking about 400,000 that you weren't going to use in your precinct, but.
I was just talking about that.
Right, exactly. Well, we took it a step.
Post something on the other
Well,
precincts.
but we can't do it that way, and I think the way to do it would be to do a penny shift instead of 400,000, and like, unless everybody agrees to it, it ain't going to work. But that's in essence what I think we need to do. And again, we're going to get together Tuesday to come up with all these numbers. You already know what I've thrown out there, and it's going to be tough. So I'm hoping between now and then, I don't expect a whole lot of recommendations. I think we've already got, we pretty much tapped them out. It's going to be, I told Javier and Marta, you need to go back to these big departments, and if they don't pony up or they don't cut, we're not going to make it. We're not going to be able to balance the budget. We don't have a fund balance to go to balance. The bridge system doesn't have a fund balance to go to. So we're going to have to cut because we won't be able to raise the tax rate more than a penny. So.
We'll be using this on Tuesday? We'll have new numbers.
Unless
for us.
something changes, that'll be it.
By that time, to that schedule, add the impact of the M&O, the fuel, I don't think is on there. The
Yeah, as far as the
$100.
suggestions, we'll have those.
Have it all outlined so we know, all the ones that we know that we can probably do fairly easily, and then we leave the budget cuts towards the end. And you got to go to the big four or five. That's where all the expenses are. Okay? Any other questions? All right. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge Javier's report? Moved by Commissioner Tamayo. Do I have a second by Commissioner Gatsa? Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Item N, consideration and approval of change order number 1 with Yates Construction in the amount of $103,468.67 for the Carizales Rucker addition project.
Judge, Commissioners, Sheriff requested that we table item N to item S. He's out of town.
Okay, move to table.
Talk about it.
By Commissioner Tamayo. Second by Commissioner Benavides to table items N, O, P, Q, R, and S having to do with change orders on the Carizales Rucker. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Item T, consideration and possible action to approve the proposal for the comprehensive energy and M&O assessment with Interactive Solutions, subject to approval as professional services under Order 2006-0-08001 into designated funding source.
Judge, Commissioners, I had placed this item on the agenda for a couple of reasons. One, with the possibilities of trying to help and reduce the cost in the budget, promoting the green initiative, and possibly going to reduce any type of operating costs with energy efficiency and going green. Recently, the Department of Energy has approved for the state of Texas to use about $218 million in grant funds in moving towards greener initiatives and to assist local and state governments to cut energy consumption and to reduce emissions. However, for applying for such grants, we need to submit an assessment or evaluation report to the Department of Energy or to the award granting party that will identify the project total implementation cost and the total anticipated energy savings, basic analysis of what is concluded.
Funding?
The only thing, the funding source that I've talked to Javier about it.
24,000.
24,000 something.
I understand there's probably going to be some more funding coming in from the federal government through stimulus packages for doing green projects, which again, we're going to need to have some type of analysis done if we're going to be able to apply for them.
That's correct, Commissioner. Yeah, there has been a first round of funding that has been given, and then there's second fund, and then the State Energy Conservation Office has just issued another announcement.
The Sheriff's offices are not included in here?
Not the Sheriff's Office, we included Carizales. There was a total of 5 buildings. And we had met originally with the Sheriff, and his recommendation was to see what we could do to cut the energy cost at Carizales. And one recommendation we gave was possibly switch the 52-unit AC tops that they have there to a chiller unit. But however, go in that direction, we would actually need an engineer to come in and give us an evaluation and give us a recommendation on what we actually need. This analysis or this proposal will actually cover that cost and will be included.
Those units on top are what, approaching 7 years?
I believe you're right,
Okay,
Commissioner.
so we're going to start seeing the cost of replacing them before very long.
That's correct, and that's one concern that the Sheriff does have as well, that they might not last too long, and if they do go down,
There'll probably, a bunch of them will go down about the same time, more than likely.
Yep.
They all
Yeah,
went up there at
that's-
the same time.
All right, funding source? Yeah, we got to do it this year. Next year, it'll be worse.
We don't have a funding source right now, and I know that one question that I asked Robert and I asked David a little while ago is, that there was an energy analysis that was done probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was done on the administrative building and the judicial building, and I asked what were the results of that, had it been implemented, or, what changes had been done, and,
I don't think we ever awarded a contract on that.
The best I recall, and y'all can help me, is it was done, but we didn't have the money to do the capital improvements to make the changes recommended, whereas what we're looking at now is the possibility of getting that money to do the capital improvements from
Why couldn't we
grants
use that
and
old
from
stuff?
But the
green.
report was done, so
It's
it
outdated now.
The old study was a proposal by Siemens and by something
Yeah,
else.
Martha said it was Siemens, but
Siemens did
Outdated
the study.
information too.
we haven't seen a proposal, but technology changes every 2-3 years, and right now, there's new
People are probably
types
changing
of
that out now.
green
Is there
technology out
funding
there.
for this? That's a question.
What about lab salaries?
the only funding you would have would be to use lab salaries at
Is
this
there
point.
lab salaries available?
We keep going to lab salaries.
I understand that, and it was our understanding that lab salaries and the savings on fuel were going to be used to boost up fund balance for this fiscal year. So every time you hit lab salaries, you're taking away from
That's right.
fund balance.
We keep
Well, we're
going to it.
also, in this case, looking at the possibility of getting capital money in to make some improvements to save money in the future.
And I'm sure that some of those improvements are going to incur additional cost as well because of modifications that are going to have to be done.
Yeah.
So,
In other words, it's not going to
Well,
be just
the thing is,
24,900.
if you have like ballast replacements, the idea is to have a product that we can use to apply for grants that would help us do the projects, right?
Correct, and
This is what
that would be the tool to help us apply for those grants. One of the items, actually, I was talking to Mr. Rivera and to David about was the electronic agenda, and actually, we had prepared a cost analysis and evaluation of the cost savings and what it would, and it was very, not as in-depth as this project would be because of the items behind it, but in submitting applications, they require a cost analysis and an actual, project implementation plan.
I'd like to know what our balance is on lab salaries.
Commissioner, I was looking at it today. I wasn't able to get through all of the county departments. I knew these items were on the agenda, so as soon as I got to the point to where there was sufficient there to cover for this, I stopped because it actually takes a little while to go through all the departments and to calculate how much is there and how much they need for the remainder of the fiscal year. But there's sufficient to
cover
approve
this.
this, if that's what the court's decision.
I mean, I guess
I'll make a motion to use lab salaries to fund.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a transportation project. You have to go through an analysis and a study before you can tap into the funds.
Before you
So,
even have the opportunity.
right.
By Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner
So-
Gatsa. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Item U, Sheriff's Office Staff 3 traveled to San Antonio, Texas on 7/8 to pick up surplus equipment. What was that?
This is a past travel?
Sorry?
This is past travel?
Yeah, I believe you all received a memo from Chief Reyna today explaining what,
Some motorcycles
we
in a
got.
portable building.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wood.
And some
Have a
boats.
second by Commissioner
Garza.
They're going to be driving?
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motorcycles.
Moved by Commissioner Benavides, second by Commissioner Tamayo to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed can stay. God save this honorable court. Tuesday morning, 8:30 in the morning.
You got to bring breakfast?
Huh?